From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NintenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week on NintenDomain, we are officially ending the NintenDomain Podcast over the death of the Gold Points. Long live whatever the new incentive is for the Switch 2 eShop.
Yeah, no more video games for me, unfortunately. I think I'm just going to go start playing sports or something out in the real world.
Stay golden, Nintendo. Come on.
Real sports are dangerous. Look out. They can hurt you. Welcome to NintenDomain Podcast, episode 459. Your place to hear Nintendo fans mourn all the great benefits of the old eShop and talk about the bad things about the old eShop and hope for a better new eShop. And we are your hosts. I'm Trey Pickard Chaser Johnson.
I'm Jeremy. Spoiler. Last boss is a giant robot. Wachowski.
I'm John. I need some alcohol knitter.
Uh-oh.
Cheers to that.
I mean... I don't drink until we start the podcast. I mean, actually, I do drink before, but I try not to drink as much. I have to listen to it later, so I have to stay kind of sober.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Anyway, yeah, I only had like maybe 2 beers earlier. I don't remember how many shots, but I'm good. Anyway, let's start off the show as we normally do and talk about games we got and games that we've been playing. On the mention on the top of the show. Coming out of, it was like last morning, this morning. I saw it from Nintendo of Europe, but on the old Twitter, which I still go there occasionally for Nintendo news, because they only post there, I saw them mentioning that they were doing away with the gold points, the beloved gold points. And I, kind of put a little bit of stuff in there for what I did this week, just my own memories of the old gold points, because I love those damn gold points. Most recently, when we did the shit game episode, which was our Patreon episode for December, if you're on there, patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast, you can listen to it for only $1. I was like so not psyched to spend any money, real money, on these terrible games. So what I did was I bought other games so I could get enough gold points to not pay for them. So that's what I did. So I ended up with a couple other games that maybe I wouldn't normally got, but I didn't want to pay my actual money towards these shitty games, because I'm of the belief that I'd rather pay $60 for a good game than 60 mediocre games. But then, 60 for 60 mediocre games or whatever, or shitty ones for that matter.
I will say the gold points helped a lot. Well, helped or hurt, whatever, however you want to look at it, with me making impulse purchases.
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
Because I'd be like, well, I've got $6 at the shop, so it's really only like I'm paying $24 for it when it's on sale, and so I'm more likely to buy something with that incentive. So they're shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, at least where I'm concerned. Maybe they need something else.
Well, here's the thing. I think there's no way that they don't replace it with something else. I think that date, March 25th.
It's 5 days after the release of Xenoblade Chronicles X, the re-release. So
it's also
get your
It's crazy how soon that is.
Yeah.
It's like 8 days before the upcoming Direct.
So, no, it's funny because it's like, Xenoblade Chronicles X is like the nail in the coffin. Well, maybe somewhat. I mean, I'm sure they'll announce some more Switch 1 stuff on the Direct, because who knows when Switch 2 is coming out. But it does still kind of feel like Xeno X is like the nail in the coffin, where it's like,
well, I think
20th, 5 days later, no more gold points.
So who knows when Switch 2 is coming out, but I think this date of March 25th closing for the gold points actually suggests the Switch 2 is coming sooner than later, because they're changing up the shop for sure. That's what this really means. They're changing up the shop. They're doing something new. They're going to have some kind of revamped gold point system, and it's the old one's out on the March 25th. So the new one is coming right around the corner after that. which means the Switch 2 eShop would be technically ready, or at least behind the scenes ready before the thing launches. It's all good news, I think. Really, it's just they're doing something new. I have no doubt. This was too successful. Everybody used it too much, just like Jeremy was saying. It would help you or encourage you to spend more money than you would normally. There's no way that they don't replace it with something new. So this doesn't disappoint me or sadden me. It excites me actually, because they're doing something new soon.
Well, and it was like what, 5% of whatever you spent is like what you got back. Yeah. So another thing that's getting the going on the chopping block, but I think that's happened before. Like if you were to buy the Nintendo vouchers, you get $5 in gold points automatically. So that shows that it's 5% because you pay $100 for that. You get $5 back, which was always nice. But if you remember back in the Wii U 3DS days, they did have another incentive thing where you did get free games as well that was similar to the gold points, but it wasn't as like defined. But they did have that before, because I remember I got Tetris for free as a virtual console game for 3DS, like through that program. I think they were like star points or something like that, and it was a little like more finicky, like how you did it. You had to kind of go through more hoops to get it working, but they did have this system before it was the gold points. So I do have faith that they're going to bring it back in some other way, because they did the same thing where they dropped that and then they started gold points, which was much better because it took off of what you were spending. Where I think the other one you had to like, it was the old times where you had to like put the code in to like, register your stuff on Club Nintendo, and then you got this extra stuff, and then you could end up getting certain digital games for free through that. Like that's kind of how I was doing it. But I did get, a couple like Wii U games and 3DS games through that, but it wasn't as like great as the gold point system was, which, like Jeremy was saying, I felt the same way, where it's easily, you got like a couple dollars in there, you can knock that. Like I bought something the other night, which was like on sale for $15, but I had like $7, so I can knock it down to like $8, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like I'm saving even more. And I don't remember which year it was where there was like a whole bunch of games that came out like at once, where I bought way too many games, like one after another, and I couldn't play all of them. It was like maybe the second year of the Switch. They had like this week where there was like 6 games that all like came out together. It was like Dragon Quest Builders, and like there was a bunch, and like Ys 8 came out then too, and there was another like I forget. There was like a Sega RPG thing too that I got that I never played. Like there was like 6 big games that all came out next to each other, and I bought like all of them. I was able to accumulate enough gold points to buy like a whole game practically. I had almost like $60 worth of gold points that I threw into like a free game, and that was really cool. That was the one time that actually like I was trying to save up enough to buy like an entire game, and I think I got to like $50 worth, maybe $60 worth, where I almost like, so it was, it was cool to like, if you had the ability to spend that much, it was very nice to see it come back to you,
Yeah. Especially like when I would buy my Christmas Onslaught, spend $200. That really helps.
$10 back. Yeah. And if you're doing doing stuff through like Sam's Club or like what's the other one?
Costco.
Costco. Yeah. I was trying. It's cost something. Or Costco. They had those deals sometimes where you could get like the eShop cards. Like I did it through Sam's Club because we have that, where you get like 10% off, so you can get like or 10 or 20%. Because I think I got like $100 in eShop cards for like 80 something.
$90.
Yeah. So it's like 15% off. So you can do that also, and then do and then do the voucher, and then you can save even more, and that sort of thing. So hopefully they have some sort of way to give it back. But still, I love them gold points. Like they were.
I do too.
Like I said, they really helped me cut a lot out of the games, because this last one, because sometimes you see something that's on sale for a couple bucks, and it's like, oh, I got $7 worth of gold points. I could just get it right now for free and not even have to think about it. And then there it is, and then you
makes
it easier, and you got it. So
yeah, they're announcing it now so that you'll have enough time to spend down your gold points, and you'll be ready to go for the new system, which could launch as soon as 8 days later when the new direct happens.
Oh, I don't think they're going to go the way of what was it? Was it Saturn that did that? Where it's like, it's out now.
No, they're not going to announce. I don't think they're going to do that. Out now. Yeah. No,
I think you're going to
certainly whatever the reward system is, that could be ready and applied to the Switch 1 eShop, just the same as the Switch 2 eShop.
Sure.
Let's hope that the eShop is part of the presentation, where we
I hope so. Yeah.
If nothing else, maybe they'll roll out a new update to it where we can start checking out some Switch 2 game footage or something like that in the meantime.
Another thing about this story, since we're already talking about it, they're all, well, as far as the gold points go, basically the facts on it are you'll get the last time you can get gold points are on the 25th of March, but then you can use them a year later after that. So you'll still have those gold points for the next 12 months, which I think is how it worked already. Like your gold points, if you didn't use them for a whole year, they'd expire. I never waited that long. I always used them up pretty. I never waited a whole year to use them. Like I said, it would always, like you were saying, it would always like help push me over the edge on whatever game I was trying to get or whatnot.
One thing is like when y'all get me an eShop card a lot of the time, that's like fun to try to maximize the amount of stuff I can get out of that and, in a way make your gift better.
Yeah.
Because I'm taking advantage of the rewards and stuff.
Yeah, and if you got extra, got extra gold points saved there, you can be like, oh well, I can take this one down even more.
So one thing, and I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but a lot of stuff has happened in the past 10 years that the podcast has been going, where Nintendo has done these strange things. Like think about like the 3DS price drop, and they did the ambassador program. That was that was a response to poor sales, and so was stuff with the stuff on the Wii U, I would think, as far as like the rewards we were getting and stuff. And then subsequently the vouchers, because that was a way to get people to give Nintendo money before the games even came out. So I think that Nintendo's no longer in the place where they're struggling financially and they're worried about their install base buying software. So, I mean, it makes sense that they do this. And it would also make sense if they just didn't replace it, to be honest. And then maybe we see something like this again in the future if they're struggling with some new platform or whatever. But I don't know. As much as I hate it, maybe it bodes well for Nintendo as a company that they're not needing this kind of thing anymore. I still think it's nice, and I still think it's a good way to show support for your customers. But yeah, it's no longer a reactionary thing. If anything else, this is the maybe this is reactionary, but for the opposite reason.
Sure, I think we'll get some sort of reward system in some way. But one thing, I was listening to somebody talk about it earlier today, or I guess it would have been today because it just got announced like yesterday or this morning. But and I agree. What about the old like selects? Like we never got any of those for Switch.
Mm-mm.
Like bring those back.
Never.
When they would release Nintendo games for $20. Like the last time we saw that was for 3DS games. And then never again. So maybe if they're gonna get rid of the gold points, maybe we could.
They did the selects in the Wii U, didn't they?
Yeah.
I guess that was before the 3DS.
Wii U, they were really, Wii U, they gave you a whole game for buying Mario Kart 8. You got a free game. Like I got Pikmin 3 for free for buying Mario Kart 8 because they were just giving you a whole game because they're like, oh yeah, here you get 2 games for 1 because we really want people to own Wii U's. So they were just handing out shit, just to be like, please buy a Wii U. But because there was a few different games you could get, and I went for Pikmin 3 because that was the only one I didn't have yet. But yeah, we haven't seen this. We haven't seen the selects in a long time. Yeah, like the last time I saw them was 3DS games where they'd re-release them for $20 or whatever. So
yeah, that would make sense to announce that in the April 2nd direct or the rumored February direct.
Not happening,
especially with the promise of. Like,
I mean, it would have to happen next week, right? Yeah. I mean, February's almost done for, and I really don't think. I mean, last week. I thought that I was also thinking that it was pretty much done because I don't know. Nintendo's been announcing shit.
You just get a feel about these things sometimes.
Yeah.
And no, I think that in concert with them saying that it's going to be fully backwards compatible, the Switch 2 is, then
do some selects for Switch 2. Why not? Right?
Exactly. Why not say, well, you're going to be able to play all these Switch games on your new console. Why not start stocking up now on these hits that maybe you haven't played yet? And
Breath of the Wild.
You're just getting your future library together.
Breath of the Wild selects $40. That's what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I'd say a select is probably.
I don't know if they'll ever go back to the
not 20.
I don't think they'll go back to the glory days of the $20 selects. Yeah, that was great. Like when I bought Jess a 3DS for Christmas, I got like, what did I get? I got I got a
Happy Home Designer.
I got well, that one wasn't out yet. I got Animal Crossing New Leaf and Donkey Kong Country Returns for $40 because they were both like selects. So I was able to get those games for $20 each, which I thought was like fantastic, because
it was steal for Animal Crossing.
Because it was toward, it was much farther into the life of the 3DS and all that, and it was before the update, when they updated it with all the extra shit and all that. But it was like, it was cool that I could get, and I think I got a used. I don't remember if I got a used one or a refurbished one or something like that. That was a little bit less, but yeah, I got that with like all these select games, and you could get more. You can get 2 for the price of 1 there. So there you go. But also on top of that, they said that the vouchers won't work for Switch 2 games, which the vouchers have come and go before, so it's not really that much of a surprise because we had the vouchers, and then they went away, and then they came back. But something interesting that I found, I did a little research on the eShop regarding the vouchers, and no one else has said this that I know of. I was just like, because I'm gonna buy vouchers, before they're done, obviously, because I'm gonna buy a voucher for Xenoblade Chronicles X. Because I'm getting that game 100%. We'll talk about later all the cool things that they're changing to it compared to the Wii U version. There was like a whole bunch. They've just released all the previews for that, so there's really cool shit coming with that. But I'm going to get that for sure. But my second game, my 2 last Switch games, were going to be Xenoblade Chronicles X and Metroid Prime 4. But if you look at Metroid Prime 4 on the eShop, you know how every Nintendo game says eligible for voucher? Metroid Prime 4 does not. So that adds a little more mystery to it. I mean, there's no price tag either, or release date or anything like that, and that's maybe why it isn't on there, but still, it makes me wonder why it does not say eligible for voucher, because it is a Nintendo game, why would it not be? So there's more mystery for you there about what is the future of, or the destiny of Metroid Prime 4, whether it ends up in Switch 1 or 2. I still think it's destined for 1, but the fact that it doesn't say voucher on there makes me kind of be like, on that. Because that was going to be my last 2 voucher games. Because I always want to, whenever I buy like a whole $100 voucher thing, I want to make sure, I want to have the games planned out that I'm going to get with it. So,
of course,
if you only want 1, I wouldn't want to get 2 of them, but I'd be like, all right, well, the 2 ones I'll do is Prime 4 and Xenoblade X. Great. 2 solid games there.
It's also like they say which ones you can use it on, right?
That's what I'm saying. But Metroid Prime 4 does not say that it's eligible for vouchers. That's why I found it interesting. Yeah, but Xeno does. But whatever, I'm still going to get it and get my $5 back on Gold Points and use it on something fancy or something like that. I don't know. I was going to get the voucher this week, but I'm going to wait till my next paycheck and then I'll do it. But but it's I'll do that, and hopefully we have something. And, the vouchers, because I guarantee you that Switch 2 games are going to be like $70 when they come out. So Nintendo ones, major ones are going to be $70.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
So the vouchers, we could use it on, I used it on on whatever it is, Tears of the Kingdom, and saved $20 off that. But maybe they don't want people to save $20 on all their, main, their first party releases and all that. So,
well, once again, it's definitely an incentive that benefits both parties because Nintendo gets your money in advance, and it's for software, so it's not something they have to actually manufacture. So it's all a virtual thingy, and you save money. They probably make more money in the long run from the people that are trying to pinch a penny here and there.
I love the vouchers. I used them. I used them a lot, and when I was talking about that time where there was like a whole bunch of games that came out one after another, I used vouchers for all those games. And that was when they had more third-party voucher stuff available as well. I think they did. I know that Octopath Traveler 1 was available for voucher. I think Dragon Quest Builders 1 even was. And they had that. I never got it, but they had that mech game that was on there too. That was available for vouchers, and it was pretty much anything that was Switch exclusive at the time. Like was.
Wait, what mech game was that? Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Daemon Machina or
Daemon
something.
X Machina.
Yeah, something like that. They had like a 10-hour demo that you could play.
Oh, yeah.
Vaguely remember.
And there's a sequel to it.
Stylistic as fuck.
Spoilers. I don't think either of you will ever play this, but No More Heroes 3 actually at the end of the game has a Daemon X Machina crossover where those robots just kind of show up out of nowhere, and I'm like, what? What the fuck? I got a very like WTF moment. I mean, it's under the same production company, but I thought it was kind of funny that they just brought that game into there. It just kind of shows up out of nowhere. I'm like, all right, cool, why not? Let's do it. But yeah, I don't know. But I mean, since we're already talking about
let's roll right into
the
it.
death of the gold points and the vouchers and whatever, I thought it'd be fun to have where we could just talk about our own wants for the next eShop. And I kind of looked over John's notes, and I think our notes are pretty similar there. But I mean, there's a lot to want because this eShop was not great, very, very, very broken, and it still takes me forever to get it to even load whenever I get on there. And I do it every week for this show to check out what the new releases are, but it's a pain every time, and I'm like, I wonder how long this actually takes me versus if this worked
than
better.
Any other Nintendo eShop ever did.
No,
I was gonna say it was
way.
a step in the right direction.
The Wii U
in
one
some
was
ways,
better.
and then a step back in others.
Wii U one was better. I like
The Wii U one was too graphic intensive, and you had to wait for shit to load and stuff when you were scrolling.
For what little I had
it's like an old web
Wii U
page.
I don't think it was this bad.
It felt a little bit overwhelming to me, like a little bit too convoluted, and more about like the graphics or the look of it, whatever, and less the function.
Yeah,
I think Switch, in some ways, had the function right. Like it was pretty simple and easy to navigate in a lot of ways, but it's a little too simple. Like
kind of, except for when they're. I mean, this has been the entirety of the Switch eShop, but when you're releasing like 50 games a week, seriously, like 50 games a week, it's kind of can be a little confusing, and also it loads like shit. Like I'm pretty sure that the 3DS one and the Wii U one ran better because really
the 3DS one did not. The 3DS one was awful.
I'm just saying, in my experience, the Switch one is ass. Like really, like I think I'm just trying to search one thing and I wait like 10 minutes for it to
it's
just
better compared to other Nintendo stuff.
I will say another plus for the Switch eShop is that the search functionality actually works well to where you could be like, I know one word in the title, but I can't remember what the game's called. It'll find it for you. And I mean, that's a little thing, but it didn't do that on the Wii.
That's true. It does kind of do like a predictive text sort of thing, but it still takes like 5 minutes for you to actually find it, even though you already said search. Like, but
as far as discoverability, I would give it, practically a 0, maybe a 1 or 2. Like there's
I don't like
11,000. Nothing about the Switch.
There's something about there's a lot of people have found like a way to game it, whereas you keep releasing the same game, but it's some slightly different version.
Call it a different thing.
Keep showing up in the new releases every week, or it'll always be.
If you were to have a look, just have a look at the Switch eShop, brand new, never seen it before, you would never guess that there was over 11,000 games on there. No way. You would have no idea.
I remember when there was just a few.
Yeah.
It was like snipper clips and a couple other things, like Fast RMX.
Well, that was like the first.
I think
week.
if you look at something like Steam, which is what I would say is probably the best online shop that I've seen, and most people I think would probably agree.
I mean, Valve became the shop more than a game company.
True, yeah, but you look at it and at a glance, there's thousands of games on there. Just something about the way that's laid out, the fact that there's
probably hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. It's just, it looks like something that has a lot of stuff on it, and I think that they have a different means of making it actually easy to navigate and bring things to your attention. Like I guess maybe we should just start going down our list of stuff.
You can upvote stuff right on there. I've actually never really
stuff,
I think I'm the only one here that's barely used this. Like if you held a gun to my head and asked me what the Steam shop was like, I couldn't tell you anything because I've barely used it. I think I bought like 2 games in my entire life.
I've gotten a lot of stuff on Steam, but a large percentage of it was through bundles and stuff. So like I have a substantial Steam.
I've never used Steam
like discount
at all. So I don't even really
I paid full price for Elden Ring. That might be the only game I bought new on Steam.
I just what I want, like, from not knowing anything about Steam, I personally really liked the Wii U eShop, and I want that to come back in the way that I miss the themed music, where they had music that would be different depending on what the releases are. So I miss having theme songs like based around certain like releases, like when they re-released Twilight Princess, and they put like the song from the shop that's like da, 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 you know, they put that on there. Like
the
like
little guy.
everything was Malin or whatever his name was.
Malin, yeah.
Yeah, but they always had a different song on there that was themed for whatever the big release was, and I would really love to see that again because the Switch eShop never had a song at all on there.
Personality in the Switch eShop,
yeah, and personality, and the 3DS shop had music too that changed as well. Like not necessarily from games, but it still changed like every month. Like so, it was always different every time.
I will say I use the PS5 eShop, whatever you want to call it, the Sony store, whatever they call it. I will say it's somewhat convoluted too. I don't find.
I like the PS3 eShop.
I don't find
that one's
their
still pretty easy
digital
to get through.
Platform to be very good.
Better
either.
than I don't know.
They think that they've
Switch.
done a great job because it's all in the UI. You know, and it's a specific PlayStation UI you have to use obviously to do things, but the way they categorize things, and even going into my PS Plus, like I should just be able to click PS Plus and all my games show up. I should just be able to play it, but no, you got to like get through all this other crap to find the list of games. And if you know what to do, you can do it. But like somebody who got PS Plus and was like, all right, I want to see all those games I got now. It's not easy to find them. Like if you're a newbie to the shop. So like, I think that there's a certain bloatiness to any digital platform after a while when there's too much stuff on it and your user base is too diverse, and not everybody, obviously everyone's going to want the new God of War game, but you're trying to push like some indies or something, like maybe you'll make a little card. I think they call them cards on PlayStation. You'll make a little card that's like indie hits, and maybe you'll click that, and it'll sort of kind of be a thing. But then they'll also have like a bunch of like DLC lumped in there too, and sometimes you have to scroll through like dozens of those things where it's just like costumes or whatever. And I don't know. I think the Switch 2 eShop has a lot of potential to be good, but let's just say nobody's done it well yet. I don't think.
Not even. I mean, even Amazon struggles with that. They have
eBay is a fucking
products on
mess.
there.
After being on the internet for 25 years, it's still like such a bloated mess.
Yeah, it's the one problem that they all have in common is, and the one benefit that going to a mall has over going to these online shops. You can just be in the space and look around and find interests that way. Have things called to your attention because you're in the space. And I don't know, maybe the solution is for the Switch eShop, bring back the Labo VR headset and we can walk around inside the shop. I don't know.
There you go.
I still have
like
it.
A video rental store.
Yeah. I mean, it's, we got to the point where people are like, I listened to I'm sure you did as well, like that Retronauts did like a whole episode about buying games, like physically buying games, because that's retro too. Because nobody goes to a place to buy games anymore. I think, Nathaniel Lockhart, who was on here a couple episodes ago, they did a whole episode about renting games, like going to a rental or renting movies or whatever, going to like a rental place, which doesn't really exist anymore either. So it's like trying to think of that sort of thing. As far as like the having a hard time finding everything, I just wish, and they sort of had this on Wii U, but they never had it on Switch. It's just let you give away to like rate games, or at least like sort of upvote something to put especially for indie stuff, like, or maybe we could just have a category that's just like most popular user voted ones or whatever, like where we can elevate some of the good stuff. And we've talked to indie developers on this very show, just talking about how frustrating it is that you may have a really good game, but you'll just automatically get buried by something else, or like you're talking about the trash games. Where they put those down to like 99 cents and then people buy them and then they're like at the top of the best sellers. Right. Because people think that that's because they're good, but it's not. It's because they dropped it to 99 cents and it's trash.
And that's happening everywhere. That's not just on the
Yeah,
Switch.
It happens a lot on the Switch though. I've seen it very much so where it's like, "Oh, this fucking awful game is in like the 5th place just because they dropped it to 99 cents or whatever." But it never was good. It was just because people were like, "Oh, I can get it for cheap," I mean, I've fallen for that before, for all those shitty first-person shooter games they put on there,
So I think one thing that holds Nintendo back from doing something like this, implementing the rating system, is just the old Nintendo ways of wanting to manage their image to a T.
But they did have it.
I have a message for Nintendo on that one.
But they did have it on Wii U and 3DS.
People are rating your games regardless right now. Like they're going online talking about it. They're talking about stuff on social media. So what you could do is just lean into it and give. We're not asking for a comment system on the eShop or whatever. I think that'd be too much. Just like a simple rating system. Let us rate the games because we know yours is going to go to the top. People buy Nintendo systems for Nintendo games, and people generally love them because you guys do a great job making games. But let folks rate the games so that they can have a better time using your eShop and avoid the glut of crap that's currently on the Switch.
It's not really an old Nintendo thing because old Nintendo did do it. The Wii U and the 3DS totally had a full-on rating system where you could give give an amount of stars for everything. They had it, but then they got rid of it. Like they had it and they got rid of it. It's like, why did you do that? I guess maybe because it was kind of a little bit like more because it had to do with Miiverse and they got rid of that too. But I mean, it was there. It was already there. It was already in the system for the Wii U eShop and the 3DS. So why did we get rid of it? Like it's not because Nintendo's afraid of rating because they already did this.
I think everything with like digital commerce in this regard is still being figured out as it goes, and that's why it changes so much from place to place. Like you look at the Xbox 360. I brought it many times before on the show, but like you bought one at launch, and then you went into a coma, and then 8 years later you wake up and you boot it back up. It's like you're playing a different console. How everything's laid out and how it works, and it was towards the end of the Xbox 360's life that you could actually start downloading full like first day game releases.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But it really wasn't a thing until like the current gen, where that was just like, okay, now we got to just let all the games need to be DLC or downloadable as well, not just physical. And I don't know, it's getting figured out as it goes, and not to mention like each platform is that company's platform, so they're not. I don't know. Everyone's locked into it, so whatever happens with it, it's entirely up to them. And so they're going to make some questionable decisions forever till the end of time.
It wasn't like original Xbox that like were like some of the first ones to sell digital games like on the internet, like.
Yeah. There was the Xbox Live.
I mean, because before like 360 and PS3 and Wii or whatever, because
it was the first console that had a built-in hard drive.
Yeah, but also had like an online. Like I remember that being a big deal. Yeah, the Xbox Xbox Arcade and all that. Speaking of them, because like PS2 and GameCube like definitely couldn't do that. It wasn't until the sequels to those like when we got to actually being able to buy something online, and it kind of blew me away. Like when I first bought a 3DS. I went to buy a 3DS, and I went and bought Mario Kart 7 and Mario 3D Land, and it just blew me away that those games were available digitally through the eShop, and I was like, wait, what? Because I had never actually seen like a full release game on there, and not everything was like that at that time, but just the fact that those were on there, and I didn't have to like track them down, go to multiple GameStops to find them.
I will say the 3DS was the first
like
digital
kind of blew my storefront
that I frequented regularly, as far as that was where I did all my shopping. I very rarely bought a physical 3DS game. And it was like, we would be like, I remember like the show we were going to talk about Mario Maker on the 3DS the next night. And I was like, well, you know what? I am going to buy it. And I could just like download it impulsively. And that was so cool that I could just be like, or like I remember when Link Between Worlds came out. That blew my mind. It's the newest Zelda game. I could just download it and play it. Like I didn't have to go nowhere.
Well, once I realized that 3DS games were getting like midnight releases, or even better, 11 o'clock releases if you're in Central Time, that's what made me like never want to go pick up a game ever again. I was like, oh wait, so I can just like play this game at 11 o'clock tonight instead of like, I don't know, getting up at noon or something and going and buying it and then taking it home and then maybe not playing it till like 3 p.m.
Or maybe going to like a midnight release or something, but you still got to leave your house to do that.
Well, sure, yeah. But once I realized they were doing that, I think the first time it was Bravely Default, the first one I remember I bought that digitally on midnight. And also like the Majora's Mask remake, I bought that digitally at midnight. And that's really what swayed me to be like, fuck going to a store. I just buy it at 11 o'clock and play it. Like, it's way fucking better. And you can play it before anybody else. And, you know, if you're doing a podcast or streaming, like I used to get really good traffic for streaming new games at 11 o'clock. I remember I got a ton of people watching me play like Doom 2016, because I bought that at 11 o'clock. And a lot of people wanted to see the way it looked on Switch, you know, so that was kind of a secret that I had then, which everybody's learned now, and now nobody cares about my stream anymore. But back in the day, you know, I could get a decent crowd for that sort of thing, you know, because before everyone knew about the 11 o'clock release or whatever, you know. But I love that shit. I love the night before, you know, digital release, you know, because then you can just have it like a couple minutes after and not have to worry about going anywhere to find it, you know.
There's a lot of conversations to be had about physical versus digital media, and you know, it could be the entire podcast or an entire series of podcasts. But
yeah, that could be another.
I mean, the advantages outweigh the negatives, I think, of being able to download games. And anymore, you know, we've seen it in a lot of Switch releases, especially when you buy like a remastered collection or something. You're just the game card is just an access point to download it. It's not, even though it's a physical game, so to speak, it doesn't have anything on it besides some verification information to allow you to download it. So physical media is, I don't know, it's becoming rare and rare, and you just got to have all these incentives a lot of times, pre-order bonuses and stuff for people to stick to it. I remember one thing I miss. I mean, I'm happy not to exclusively support Bezos as much as I did, but I do miss, you know, if you pre-ordered a game, you got 20% off. And so you could get like every new Nintendo release for 20% off. That shit added up real fast.
Oh yeah, the old Amazon deals. I remember
getting
those.
games for $48 instead of $60 was huge.
Yeah, I remember you doing that. I never got to partake of that, but I remember hearing.
Yeah, I did that with
Breath
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
and many other games.
Was it Best Buy had a lot of that too, right? There was a lot.
Yeah.
There was a whole like Best Buy game club that they still kind of do sometimes. Oh, well, because they've started doing it for digital too. Because I was able to buy, like some gifts. I bought them for you, Jeremy, from Best Buy, where I could get the same price. I could get the deal. I could get like the eShop deal, but as like a gift you could give
like
to
a price
somebody.
match.
Which that's a good segue to another thing I'd love to see come back to the eShop. Why can't we buy gifts for your friends anymore? Why can't you sell games
That's
to
dumb
people?
that you can't do that.
That was
Really
Wii.
dumb.
That was for the Wii that you could do that.
Yeah, you couldn't do that on the Wii U or the 3DS, could you?
I don't know if you. I thought they got rid of it after. I thought the Wii was the only one you could gift games.
I think
to
so.
I think
friends.
it was where you'd actually get the little flashing light and you'd click on it.
That was such a fun thing. Like, why'd we get
Great
rid of that?
personal thing.
Like,
yeah,
was awesome.
that I could drop a game, you know, in Trey's inbox and have his Wii be flashing. Hey, you got a new game, and here it is. You know, it's just not the same to give a $20 gift card or whatever. It's not as personal. It doesn't say that you know what game your friend is going to like, and it just doesn't give the same reaction. I mean, so you got to bring that back. It's simple. Just do it.
Yeah, you can get codes. Like I get, I sent Jeremy codes for stuff, or I've sent you codes as well. Like,
sure, but why not just have it be simple? Just there it is on the shop. Send this to so and so.
It'd be much more fun to do it that way. Like what was it for my niece? I bought her a Yakuza Kiwami, and I just printed a picture of the cover and wrote the code on it and wrapped it, like that sort of thing. So it's because I wanted to wrap something, but it's more fun to just like just
surprise somebody with Cho and Iki.
Just send it to them, or whatever else, I miss that.
And related to that, I want to see improved wish lists where, like, say you could look at my wish list and you could know what games I want. So then you could buy the game for me and send it to me.
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, kind of like like you can do on Amazon too. Like make your own wish list and like share it with your Switch friends and all that. That'd be fun.
Right. And make it unlimited, please. Don't set a cap on how many games I can put on my wish list. That's so stupid.
Yeah, it does get annoying. I mean, I do it all the time where I
That's your own fault for never buying games on your wish list.
I buy them.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Sometimes that's why I buy them, just to get them off my wish list. Or I try to just tell myself, it's like, all right, this game has been in your wish list for how long? And it's on sale for 99 cents and you don't care? Just get it off of there. You're obviously never going to buy it. Like, just...
You better believe I would have thought to do that at my wedding. I would have been like, here's my Switch wish list. Just throw that on the registry.
Right.
Yeah.
Although my wife probably wouldn't have appreciated that as much.
Well, you could both, you get stuff you'll both play or whatever.
Yeah, don't know about that.
Yeah.
They still just play. She just plays Suikas and Tetris 99 still. Those are her games.
Puzzle games.
Nothing wrong with that. Related to wish lists, let me follow games. Like there's games that I don't necessarily like know that I want, but I'm kind of like interested in looking over the fence at and keeping an eye on. So let me follow games like I think you can do on Steam. Just kind of get the news, get developer updates, and all that kind of stuff. Keep me on the line for the games that I'm interested in.
You can kind of do that. Well, on Switch to where like if you like put it on your wish list, they'll send you emails when it's on sale and stuff like that. But I would like it to be more extreme, where it's like, say there was a game that was kind of buggy when it came out, they would send you something being like, oh hey, there's an update that's fixing whatever this was, or like some games. What was it? The Power Rangers game that didn't have online multiplayer when it came out, but now it does. It'll be like send you an update that's like, oh hey, they updated it to now you can play online, like that sort of thing. Like I would like to see, where you can mark a game and they'll be like, all right, here's the new patch, here's the patch info about it, or it's like now it's got multiplayer, here it is. Like I would like it in that way, because maybe you're holding off on it because it doesn't have a thing yet. Like Splatoon 1 that had like none of the modes when it was released, and maybe you wanted to wait till they added all the other shit. That would be a cool way to keep you informed on a game. Like if you're like on the fence about it, or you're like, oh, I'll wait till they add this to it. It could be like, aside from just saying it's on sale, just be like, oh, right. They added this to it, or they fixed the frame rate, or whatever. Like they've done some updates to it. Instead of, we're obsessively online where we read all this stuff, but it would be nice to just be reminded, because or even to be cool for games I already have. That's like, oh, maybe they updated a thing and I don't know about it. It's like how many games I've tried to open it again. It's like, oh wait, no, you got like 3 updates. You got to wait through here. Not all games are like that, but some of them are. Where they got,
I've got
pretty big updates.
I've got over 300 games on my Switch. I got games that I forgot about. I'm sure you both do it as well, and that something like that might pull me back into a game that I forgot about. Oh wait, this had an update. That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just give me some kind of notice in the system, like along those lines. Like I want a section just for the games that are on my wish list that are on sale, automated. I don't have to scroll through my wish list to see what games are on sale.
Oh yeah, that would be cool too.
Put out a little corner. Here's all your games that are on your wish list that are currently on sale right here.
That would be great. It'd be cool if you could do it like how you search them on the eShop, where you can put it by like number too, where it's like, show me everything that's on sale from $1 to $9 or whatever, and then it just line it up. Because you can do that when you're just searching regular sales, but why can't you do it in your own wish list?
Yeah, which we've been dancing around about. I don't think we said specifically. I want filters. So filters like for genre, characters, developer, price, and then if we have a ratings system, 4 stars and above or whatever. Like, let me give me the full power of filters on the new Switch 2 eShop, please.
We kind of have that, but not more than one. It's just like you can do price, or you can just do like genre, but I don't think you can do like more than one at once. I think it's just like, oh, show me the racing games, or show me the first-person shooters, or whatever, but you can't do. I don't think you can do like racing games for under $5 or something like that. Or definitely, I don't think you can search. Like what I normally do for developers is I'll look at a game and then I'll click on the developer and then it'll show everything they made. But I don't think you can specifically be like, show me
Capcom games.
Yeah, show me all of the Falcom games or something like that. That would be great. That'd be bad for my wallet, but do that anyway. So I could be like, which Falcom games that I don't want?
Also bad for your wallet would be adding a cart to the eShop so you can buy a bunch of games at once.
Yeah, I saw that on your list. And yeah, like, what the fuck, man? Like, on PlayStation 3, I can buy like multiple games at once. And that's a fucking old ass fucking system. But I still can't buy like more than one game at once on Switch. Like, it's so annoying. Like, if you get some extra money and you want to buy, or especially like if you want to do one of those Mad John buys where you want to buy a whole bunch of like stuff on sale, or like, the shitty games that we did or whatever. It's just so annoying to like, you got to buy and then you got to go back and get another one that do it again.
Passcode every time. Oh my gosh. And if you're like me and I have a ridiculously long passcode, for security purposes, thankfully they do make it a little bit easier with, you can approve the purchase on your phone. So I have it set up to do that. So it is a little bit faster than typing out a 32-digit code of random numbers, which is my passcodes. Yeah, so it's just needlessly convoluted. Just let us put it all in one cart and out the door.
Yeah, fucking carts. Like it's stupid. Yeah, just here's a crazy idea, Nintendo. Let us buy 2 games, more than one game at once. I don't think you've ever done this on any of your systems. It's so dumb.
Speaking of filters too, and I don't know if you mentioned it, but how great would it be to just blacklist certain developers to be like, I don't want to see anything by whatever this developer is that keeps
the ones that keep releasing things. There was this new developer. It's called like Grizzly Games or Grizzly Bear Games or something like that, and they just came out with this like Doom lookalike, that's like $8, but it's on sale for like $2. And I looked at like I just looked at their company, and they have like 3 other games coming out that are just like other shitty first-person shooters that are all like coming out within a couple weeks of each other, and they're all going to be on sale for $2. Yeah, I would love to just black out that company because I thought about it. I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool, but there's no video of it. But then there was another one that was coming out like next week that I watched a video of it, and I was like, oh no, this game looks awful. Like I don't need to get the other one. Because it looks, that's all I've played. Like I said before, I played enough first-person shooters. I just need to see a couple minutes of it moving to know whether it's good or not. And a lot of these games, they won't show you video; they'll just show you pictures, so you think it might be good. Yeah. But yeah, just watch a video of it moving, and you'll be like, "All right, I can tell whether this is ass or not." Like just from a video.
Let's say they've got a more robust setup with a sense of like, I don't know if they still do this, but they were doing like Nintendo ambassadors for a while. These are the people that were actually allowed to post Nintendo content on YouTube or whatever, and they were sponsored or whatever. But what if you had like ambassadors that were posting video reviews of games on the eShop? So you could be like, well, this is someone that maybe, there's a bit of a slant to it because they're sponsored by Nintendo, but we're still like, this is someone that maybe we could trust because they actually play a lot of Nintendo games. And they're like, well, no, this is because like, I don't know, I'd be more likely to buy something that was questionable if someone said they actually liked it, or you know what I mean. Sometimes a good game is still there, even if it's getting panned.
I think those folks they wouldn't have to do a review of the game. Like you wouldn't have to do it. You know what I mean? If you wouldn't have to put your reputation on the line and whatever. So if they don't like a game, they just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So if you go to a game and there's nobody playing it and there's no video footage of people playing it, then that's a black flag. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
If you go and Henry Rollins is playing the game, it's great.
Hey, Henry Rollins was not originally in Black Flag.
He only plays text-based adventure
games. He was when Black Flag stopped being good. So I like Henry Rollins, but the band was much better.
I don't know how I feel about him. He's a polarizing character, but he wants to be.
I don't know what he's like now, but like I saw him talk at Columbia like 15 years ago, and he was hilarious. But everybody's, who knows what anybody's like nowadays. I haven't really heard much from him, but the original Black Flag was great, which I did see the original singer.
The original singer was the guy from the Circle Jerks, right?
I thought his name was Keith. Was Keith something?
Yeah, that's the guy, Keith Morris from.
Keith Morris. That's what I wanted
Circle
to say.
Jerks and Jack Off Jill and Off.
But I was afraid from. Oh yeah, I've seen Off too. They're really good.
Off is incredible.
Yeah, but I saw because he started a band called Flag, which basically Black Flag, except it's called Flag now. And I saw them play at Riot Fest, and they were awesome. It was basically Black Flag, but they don't like each other, so it was him with people that he liked playing Black Flag songs. It's like seeing, the real Dead Kennedys, not the ones running around calling themselves Dead Kennedys, but, Jello Biafra, which I saw him play as well, where he plays this.
I would put Jello Biafra and Henry Rollins in a similar pantheon.
Well, I haven't really, the last thing I saw, I know Jello Biafra did screw over his own band members as far as music goes.
I'm just talking about all the spoken word albums.
And Alternative Tentacles record labels and all that stuff, but last time I saw him say anything was him being upset at Trump being elected in 2016. So, at least we're on the same page about that.
I meant more about what they represent. Yeah, because they are musicians, but they're something else. They're almost like politicians.
Sure. Yeah.
Or the musicians. They're representative of a scene and of an ideology more than just singers or whatever.
Yeah, I did love those Jello Biafra spoken word albums though. Back in the day. I probably made you listen to him a bunch of times back when we were driving around.
Sean has actually been getting into him. I had
a few of them.
A big Jello Biafra fan recently.
I don't know what he's I don't know what he's been doing lately, but back in the 2000s, I really liked his spoken word albums. I had a few of them. I had like 2
So
or 3
I
of them.
threw a rock. Something about that, throwing a rock at a truck or
So
something.
I picked up a rock. Well, that's not. Yeah, that's from his regular music albums. But
oh, it's not from a spoken word.
no, well, I mean, it's from a Dead Kennedys album, but he's telling a story. It's from Give Me Convenience or Give Me Death. It's from that album.
So it was like, oh, people like this, now I can do an entire album where I just talk.
I mean, I think he'd been talking for a long time, but yeah. Well, that one was they had to retune a guitar, so he told a story. That's what happened to the end of the album.
I saw a band once, and it was a Keith's band. Empty Island, I think they were called. And the drummer David, for his he's like, during this set, anytime we're tuning or anything like that, I will be reciting dialogue from the Bruce Springsteen tour in 1986 or something like that, and he would just start saying stuff that Bruce Springsteen said, word for word, during his live shows in between songs. It was really funny. I don't know. I thought it was a unique way to approach the dead space.
Sure. The only last thing that I had for what I won in the eShop, and I don't know if this is necessarily the eShop, but just buying games in general. You know what I really miss is a unique animation for buying games, and and you don't have to just watch Mario collect your coins or anything, but it would.
That's what you want, though.
I miss that stuff, where it showed Mario collecting coins for the Wii, and for the 3DS, it had the little bags that would drop into the thing, and it filled up. And we don't need to watch this the whole time. In the 3DS one, you could actually put it on in the background, but I just miss there being a little very unique Nintendo animation being you bought a thing, or even show an animation of Mario hitting a block or something like that when you buy a game. I miss that
Tom
stuff.
Nook taking bells away from you.
Yeah, or well, I mean, it's similar to when you would move your information from one 3DS to another and had the little Pikmin carry them. I love the how imaginative it is.
It's
on
the
and
Nintendo
on
all that back. Yeah, we know that they've scaled all that back because they wanted to emphasize the speed and make sure that the thing would load quickly or whatever. Well, I mean, they didn't even get there on that point. We complained about the shop is slow.
Yeah.
Even without all the bells and whistles. One thing that they could do is they could make sure that it's not just entirely a website. My understanding is that the shop is basically just a website, running on the internet browser or whatever.
I mean, but the actual website works better than the
the actual
than the
Nintendo.com website works way better.
Yeah, so if it is a website, try to do that one or try
to
pull some of that.
Whatever. I don't know the technological stuff behind it, but just make it mostly however you can based on the system. The eShop program, whatever. Have it located on the system as much as possible in order to emphasize the speed and whatever. Then you can add back the bells and whistles and the character, the personality. I hope you've been working on this for the last 8 years since the launch of the Switch, because really the eShop from 8 years ago looks essentially the same as it does today. They haven't really evolved it in any kind of way. So I hope they've been working on this for the last 8 years to make sure that it really runs smooth as butter, has some personality.
They just added the Nintendo Switch Online and featured, I think, was the only things that were left.
Yep.
Another thing, actually, it's not actually to do with the eShop, but just let us buy themes, please. Let us buy themes for Switch 2. There were so many fucking themes that you could buy for 3DS, and when the 3DS eShop was going under, they were all on sale for 50 cents. So I bought a bunch of them. And I made it to where it's completely random. So every time I open up my 3DS, it's a different thing. And I have Persona themes and all these different weird ass fucking RPGs that I've never played that are on there. Do that again, where would that would change the icons and the music, and it was just so much fun. I miss that shit, Or there was the Hanafuda ones, just bring themes back. It was a good time.
Bring back themes. I want to be able to send recommendations to friends, going back a little bit to the wish list and that kind of stuff. That's sort of in that category. If I see something that I don't necessarily like, but I know Jeremy would like, I want to be able to send it over to him, give him a notification. Hey, you might like this. Check it out. I think that's another thing that would be simple to implement. And it's kind of a no-brainer.
On that note, you should also be able to get notifications that your friends have got it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if they bought a thing that's multiplayer, or just if they bought anything, it'd be like, oh, hey, your friend bought this game. Like, because I wish I'll talk about it later. I got
Trey bought their 4th hentai game of the month. Oh, thanks.
I only bought like one, but I'll talk about it later in the episode. But I got Guilty Gear Strive, which is an incredible game. We had actually been talking about it like between my wrestling friends and all that, and Shake had like texted me before asking me if I was interested in getting it, and at the time I couldn't afford it, and I had enough money to get it, and I got it, and I texted him. I was like, hey, I got it now, so let's play sometime. But it wouldn't be cool if you could just do that. Just was in your system. It would just automatically send him a thing being like, oh, hey, your friend Trey got Guilty Gear Strive, like so stuff like that. Especially for the people that I play stuff online with, it's nice to know like, and we've done it before, like between like Joe and Logan and Shake and I, where we just like sent pictures of our libraries to each other to be like, oh, what fighting games do you have? Or like, what can we play online? Like that sort of thing, just to
that'd be cool.
Just to do stuff for our stream. And it would be cool if it was in the eShop where it just like tell you what your friends have or what they got, instead of
they got some semblance of that now with the trending, but it's sure, just very basic.
Yeah.
It only tells you a few things.
But when you're shopping for something, it could have it on the page be like, hey, here's all your friends that bought this game.
Yeah, true.
You could try it out. Like, that would be cool. Yeah, just to have it up front there. It'd be like, oh, yeah, by the way, these people bought it. They've been playing it for this long. Like, that'd be even cooler if it had, like, the hours already of how much time people have spent on it. That would be really cool.
That'd be very cool. Yeah. The last thing that I want, and this is the big one, Virtual Console. Bring it back. All your Nintendo Classic systems, put them on there for sale individually. Yes, I love the NSO. I want it to continue. There's no reason that you can't do both.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, sure. I mean, doesn't PlayStation kind of do that? Like where you have the stuff for PS Plus, but you can buy them also? I guess they should always give you the option to just buy it and not necessarily.
They can make money both ways.
Just have it under the NSO.
I might buy some of the games that I really like, Ocarina of Time or whatever that are on NSO still. I might buy it again. Why? I don't know. Just because.
But you have it.
Completion is like that.
But you have it. But you don't need it again.
Yeah, but I might just buy it again. I don't know.
I don't think you will. I don't think you would. But I mean, I would like it to be on there if it would make the amount of games that are on there broader, which I guess we kind of do, except it's not called Virtual Console. It's just games that they're releasing. Like we have Glover coming out like next week, which is a 64 game, which could very well be in the Nintendo Switch Online, but it isn't, and it's being sold for $20. Or at least like. I mean, what I would love to see is just, why don't we just put all the re-releases into a category on the eShop? Like, it's like, here's all the 64 games that are re-released on Switch. Why don't we put them in a category called Virtual Console and quote unquote? It's like the same thing, right? You're still buying the game.
Or here's all the Sega Dreamcast games. Here's all the Genesis games. Yep.
Here's a stupid thing that I've actually, this doesn't exist, and I need to I would like to try to do it myself, but I don't know if I have the patience for it. You should be able to just divide it by console and what's been put to Switch. I've been trying to find a list of all of the PlayStation Vita games that are on Switch because there's a lot of them, and nobody has made a list of that. Or well, if they did, it's 6 years old, and there's a bunch of stuff missing. And I would love to see here's all these stuff that was on other systems. I don't think they'd ever do that on the eShop, but I would like to see that because I love the PlayStation Vita games are great on Switch, and I just want to know what they all are and eventually get all of them. And that's what or PSP games too, like all these other portable games that are now portable on Nintendo systems. It'd be cool.
You might get an Xbox category because they're playing nice, but beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but these systems don't exist anymore. Who cares? The PlayStation Portable, they're not making games for that. They're not making Vita games. You could say, hey, these Vita games are on Switch now. Or maybe make it user created where you can make your own. You can make your own
categories.
Group and you can share it with people.
Yeah,
and be
kind of like a playlist or something.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like making a playlist on a streaming music thing or whatever.
That kind of gets to another idea that just popped into my head. Thank you for that. I like to organize a lot of my stuff by tags and different programs and all that. So they should probably put all these different games, give them tags so that folks can organize them whatever way they want. If we're implementing the idea that Trey just came up with, that would be a tag system. So you'd have brawlers, you'd have Sega games, you'd have colorful games, all sorts of different descriptors for each game that the developers would apply when they put the game on the eShop. And then that way I could have a filter that has all these different tags applied: Sega games, colorful games, brawlers, whatever. And then,
cinematic platformers.
Cinematic platformers, yes.
Your favorite.
So that would let me. That solves the problem of gets to solving the problem of visibility on the eShop. If I can create my own system with
it's you basically
with
want
tags, then I can have the games come to me that I already know appeal to me.
Well, yeah, you kind of want an algorithm which can be its own blessing and a curse at the same time, right? Because they might throw a bunch of dumb shit at you too, in the same way.
But if I'm creating the filters which make those games rise to the surface, then I have some control over it.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that it wouldn't get to whatever the internet is now. Like now, it's ridiculous how. I think I typed Cobra Kai into the description of last week's episode, and then all of a sudden I got ads for Cobra Kai everywhere, and I never researched it. I guess I did speak it into this podcast, and I do think that your phones are listening to you and that they will show you things already. But all of a sudden I saw all these ads for it out of nowhere, and I was like, I just typed it into the description, but It's amazing how much. Well, it's more scary how much shit they know about you.
Yep.
But no, it would be cool to have it. Yeah, to basically make it like only show you stuff that you're interested or whatever. Or have different ways to be like, oh, this is like this, or I don't know, ways to and I didn't mention it earlier, but I did have it in my notes. Maybe find a way to police the bad games, or at least not let people release as Jeremy was saying earlier, release the same game over and over again with a different name, but you still have that same AI person on the front there. It's maybe shut down some of these companies, or completely cut them out of your view entirely. Like on Facebook, where you can block people from groups, which I've done before. Where there was this one guy in this Dragon Quest group that was super toxic. You just block him, and then you just never see him again. Just do that, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. We got some great ideas for a new eShop there. Nintendo, I know you listen to us every week. Take notes.
We did your work for you.
Yeah.
We expect a new eShop on March 26th.
We expect a new eShop by next week, so we can talk about it. No, yeah. But I think that's good for the first half here. Why don't we take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about the other news and games and whatnot.
Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With NintenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NintenDomain ever made.
Here we go!
and it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NintenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and, hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show!
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
We're back from the break. Let's talk about what we got and what we've been playing for the week. Actually, a lot of these things were stuff I actually saw Jeremy playing as well, so we can kind of tag team on here. One thing I wanted to mention, the Galloping Ghost room tone that I recorded on Jeremy's wedding party, pre-wedding party. It's on YouTube now, so if you want to listen to the sounds of arcade games making beeps and bloops and whatnot, or pinball machines doing all the bumper noises and all that. You can
one guy asked a try, hey, what you doing?
Is he in there? I've listened to him. I didn't hear him on there.
I didn't hear it. I listened to most of the room.
You can actually hear Jeremy's voice and my voice at the very beginning of the arcade one, but I thought maybe people didn't know who we were, so they wouldn't recognize us anyway, but our voices are kind of there at the very beginning. But
now they're iconic, and
there are some voices in there, but I don't think I've listened to it all the whole way through. But anyway, regardless, this is the 11-minute version. The reason it took me forever to put it up is I couldn't put it together how to make an hour-long version. So I was just like, just put it up the way it is. Like, stop fucking freaking out about it. Because I wanted to do an extended version, but I was having a mental block as to figure out like which parts to to marry together and what to loop and whatever, and it was a whole thing. So that's why it took me forever to put it out, because I wanted to be able to different versions of it. And I was like, just put it out as is, and then you can think about maybe if it gets enough hits, you can think about an extended version or something. But just do it.
I could fall asslleep to that sound, the arcade sound, and just be like,
I'm just saying that's why
so comforting.
But I did put it as ASMR and all that, and what was it? Robert and Caroline were at our house on Sunday, and I did play it for Robert. I was like, "Hey, look, I recorded it." Well, because he was talking about being into pinball games, and we did actually play.
Okay.
We played four.
So it made sense.
We played 4-player Medieval Madness on Switch, which was pretty awesome. So that was fun.
That's nice. If anybody out there's got.
Because I was like, hey, Medieval Madness is my favorite pinball game of all time. All of us have Switches, so I was trying to convince Robert to get pinball because they only really play Mario Kart 8, and that's like it. So I try to convince them to play other games.
They're the reason why we got a new Mario Kart.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mario Kart 8 is kind of like the new Wii Sports for Switch, obviously, but.
Most appealing thing, yeah.
But anyway, yeah. If you want to hear me walking around with a microphone recording stuff at Galloping Ghost, and I put it on Twitter and tagged them on there just because I couldn't find them on Blue Sky, just to try to get a little extra like traffic or whatever for it. But anyway, you can find that on YouTube. Just look up Galloping Ghost, or just look up YouTube.com/NintenDomain podcast. You'll find it on there.
Yeah,
and that's where you can find it. But since last week, Wario Land 4 came out. And I think I saw you playing it online, Jeremy. So I
did
played it as well. So we would have a common thing to talk about on this here podcast.
This game was before WarioWare, is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. Because there's some very.
It It was a really early Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah, there's some mini games in there, but they feel like very, very simple WarioWare stuff. Because there's like a home run derby thing, where you would hold your Game Boy on the side, so trying to play it on a TV on the Switch is kind of weird because it's like, you could be holding it, you should be holding it the other way. And then there's like one where Wario jumps over some shit, and then there's the one where you make the face, which is actually in the WarioWare games. Actually, the jumping one is too. So you kind of see like the early DNA of WarioWare in Wario Land 4.
Yeah, what a great game! Like, I forgot how fun this game is, and I think having the save states makes it more fun. And seeing those
and the
sprites,
rewind. You can really dominate on those mini games with the rewind, because I did the jumping one and I just kept rewinding and I made it to like 200 points or whatever, because the mini games, you get coins that you can use to buy, like you can basically buy stuff that'll help you on the bosses later. So I bought like the visor man or whatever, the like shoot like a Cyclops type beam out of his face and attack the boss
I didn't
or whatever.
Get that far.
So I made it through like one boss.
I've never gotten very far in this game because of the fact that time limit just stressed me out too much, and I just couldn't bring myself
well,
to
you can do that too. Well, because what was it, like every level you have to collect like these 4 things that'll make like a diamond looking thing or whatever, because it has to like slot into a door to help you get to the boss of every like level section or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple times where like I got through it and I didn't find all the parts, and I just rewound it. I just rewound the whole level, and I was like, well, I didn't fully look through this part, so I like rewound to this part, and then I was like, well, I found it there, and then I did that so I didn't have to start the level all over again, and it's glorious. I love it so much. It makes it so much that approach. Makes it so much easier.
But it looks so good.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that as well. Like the sprite art is amazing. Yeah, like the animation and the sprite art. You really can't see it that well. Well, for any of the patrons, the $5 patrons, I have my physical copy actually playing to the side of me here. I do have Wario Land 4, the actual cartridge still. And and I looked at how far it was. I don't think I ever beat it. Like I got to all the bosses, but I thought I had beat it before, but maybe I didn't. So and I had not beaten that a plant boss, which I beat on the Switch version, which I actually didn't use any rewinds for that. But I mean, it's nice to have the rewind there. And like I said, you can stock up those coins from the mini games and get yourself some extra shit to help you with the bosses. And
I would say this is the closest we have to playing, the Virtual Boy version of Wario, and it's not quite the same, but
I would love to see
there is a lot of similarity, and also between like the Game Boy Color games. But no, this is just like a really nice, fun platforming game, and
it's really smooth.
Once you play it,
yeah, the animation is incredible on it. Like the music's
if
good.
the time limits
stress
you out, use the rewind, use the save state, and that's what I'm gonna do. I actually want to play all the way through it.
Yeah, me too.
Because I never did.
Yeah, it was actually a go-to because like past couple days I was like, I don't know what to play, and I just did Wario Land 4 a lot because it looks really pretty, it plays really well. I mean, when was the last Wario Land game we got? With the 2D one, like the Wii one, like Shake It or whatever, right?
Which I didn't like that one that much. I think I'm a bit of an outlier.
Well, I mean, the shaking of the stuff to get the coins out or whatever, that was kind of annoying, but I really liked the way it looked. Like I really liked
the way it looks was cool
animation.
But the
shaking mechanic, like most Wii games, is annoying now.
It wasn't the shaking so much. I thought that the game was kind of empty. Like I think there was not very many enemies. I remember like some little blob guys walking around. I just felt like there wasn't much to do in there.
Like it was half-baked.
It felt a little half-baked. Like they put
Wario.
all the energy into the visuals, and the gameplay just kind of wasn't there for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I liked it. I never played it all the way through, but I did like the way it looked. But I don't remember.
It's one that I wanted to go back to, though, because I know there are people who like it and say it's a really good game, and I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I remember playing it at your house or bringing it over and showing it to you, like when I got it. But I don't think we played it for very long. I think I just showed you a little bit of it, like just the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I miss those. But I do miss the like single player Wario stuff, and I don't think we've seen. Like I said, I don't think we've seen anything since that. So it would be nice to see it again. And we only have Wario Land 3 and 4. We don't have 1 or 2. like I said before, I think I said this last week, like 2 was never re-released on anything, which is a shame because I hear it's really good, and I've never, it's probably hella expensive to buy like an actual.
I'm surprised that wasn't on the 3DS eShop.
No, it never was. The 2 was not. 1 and 3 were on there, but not 2.
I guess we weren't getting Game Boy Advance games of that. Now I remember
and there weren't any Game Boy Advance games on that.
Now.
But it was probably on Wii U. I'm sure Wario Land 4 was on Wii U. But it's a cool game. We got it for free. Through Nintendo Switch Online, and it was it's fucking gorgeous. Yeah, the sprite art is really, really good in it.
You can really see that they were pushing that new hardware as much as they could to just be like, the Game Boy Advance was a wonder to behold when it came out, and even though that screen was not great, it looked like the future when you were looking at that little tiny screen, and you're like, holy shit, this is better than a Super Nintendo. This is like a PS1 as far as like the early generation of
for like
sprite-based
2D,
games,
for sprite based.
Yeah.
Even though there were some, they did have some 3D stuff.
Yeah,
like very, very low key 3D stuff on Game Boy Advance. It was pretty good.
Yeah, Monkey Ball Jr.
Well, they had there was a Duke Nukem game on there that was
Star X.
like a first person shooter game that was on Game Boy Advance, and Doom 1 and 2 were on there as well, like for that sort of thing. So it was there's some cool stuff like that. But Wario Land 4 is a really good early Game Boy Advance. But it reminds you of the greatness of the GBA. There's a lot of really fun like gameplay mechanics in there too, like because this one very much leaned into like Wario gets hit by shit and that like affects you in a certain way, like you get set on fire and that'll help you get through some things, or you get turned into a giant snowball, or you get turned into a zombie at some point, like stuff like that. You
get stung by a bee and you swell up. That's funny.
Oh yeah, and then you float up through the level when you swell up. So there's all these really cool mechanics that help you find different things.
Where getting hurt.
And you get smashed by the hammer.
It's not a debuff; it's a buff. Yeah.
Yeah, you get smashed by the hammer, and you can like fly up through things. And the rewind is fun with that because sometimes you go all the way up and you went to the wrong place and you can go back down and then try it again. I did that a couple times. But yeah, rewind, awesome for that game.
This has just got to be a treasure trove of content as far as, like you were saying, like the DNA of the WarioWare games and kind of what Wario is known for anymore. Really, I wish we could get another platformer, but we'll see if that happens.
There's been a lot of success for older, Nintendo franchises on Switch, so maybe we will
say like that. Anton Blast game was supposed to be very similar.
Well, Pizza Tower also, I actually completely forgot again that I have Pizza Tower. I need to try to play that game.
It's on my list.
I was playing Wario Land 4, and I own it. I bought it, and I've been trying to play a lot of Switch stuff because we're on like the last time of the Switch, but I've totally forgot again that I had Pizza Tower. I was like, oh yeah,
you forgot again since last week.
Yep,
that game's got some
last week
really cool memes.
Last week I was like, I should play Pizza Tower, and then I saw some Pizza Tower merch that came out, and I was like, oh yeah, I said I was going to play that last week, didn't I? I guess I already forgot that I had it again. So I try to promise that I'll try it out, even though I'm not going to have a lot of time to play stuff this week. But I can try.
You worked at enough pizza joints that you should play Pizza Tower.
That's true. I did. I was a delivery. Didn't we both work at Pizza Hut, but at different times?
But I thought you worked at a couple other. I thought you worked at Sorrento's too, for some reason.
No, I think the only pizza place I worked at was Pizza Hut. Even though I did work at Subway for a long time, and they do have pizza subs there, so maybe that's what you were thinking. I do love the pizza sub. I do like that sub still. But Wario Land 4. But I saw that you also played Tetris 99. Donkey Kong
did.
Country
I got the theme.
Returns HD theme.
Yes, I got my theme, and it's not a bad theme. I'll probably never use it, but it's a theme that my brain can comprehend. In that,
I like the music,
the contrast and everything, and the music will work well.
All of the music is like remixes of.
I never got to the top
Nintendo
10
game.
So I didn't get to hear whatever the final song is, but I got to the top 20 or whatever.
I think I made it to number 18. Was like
that was somewhere around there. Yeah, the double digits.
But I like the song. I like the way it looks, and I did actually. I played it until I got the theme, which took me like 20-30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
when it came out. But I don't know what was it the other night, Sunday night. I was trying to find something to play. and I was like, I'll just put on Tetris again just because I really like that Donkey Kong Country Returns theme. So I just did it, and I just kind of just played that for a while.
Wow, you actually just played it for fun?
I went back to it and played it for fun, yeah, not just to get the themes, which is how I normally play it. But I was just kind of, I don't know.
Getting the mileage out of this game. So I did find, and I've said it on the show before, but the best round I had was when I was like distracted by other things. Like my brother called me and I was talking to him on speakerphone.
Oh yeah.
And that was when I placed like 17 or 18, and it was like, I didn't even realize it until like it was done. I'm like, oh shit, I was like doing really well, and I didn't even notice because I was like busy like talking to my brother and having a conversation and just sort of like letting my wherever that Tetris region in my brain is do the work for me.
Oh yeah, I remember you did that to me before, like when we were playing Super Monkey Ball 2. Like I remember like if we could just distract each other enough, like through conversation, we could get through some of the harder levels because you weren't as focused on it. I remember that. Like I mean back.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's about that muscle memory.
I remember. Yeah, I remember doing that.
Burdened by your psychology.
I guess what I do now is like. Well, I haven't done it as much, but where you like listen to a podcast or something. Well, actually, I do like with the two TVs. I'll watch wrestling on one TV and play video games on the other one, just so I can hear what's going on, or kind of watch one while I'm doing the other one, kind of mindlessly. And sometimes that helps me get through stuff, but not as well as it was like having a conversation and playing something at the same time. But no, I did really like that version of Tetris 99. And also, I thought about bringing it down here, but I'll leave it upstairs. But I did actually bought, it wasn't, I guess, Valentine's Day happened, but it wasn't necessarily a Valentine's Day gift. I just had some extra cash because I got pretty busy. I got like a few weeks of audio work in. But I bought Jess a Nitro Deck for their Switch. If you don't remember, the Nitro Deck it's like a solid unit that your Switch like slots into. Works for like regular Switch and OLED.
It's kind of like a backbone.
Works
right?
for both of them. Yeah, kind of. But interestingly, I just remember that because Jess is always like the Joy-Cons were kind of fucking up where you had to like slide them off and put them back on because they kept like desyncing, and I remember that being a thing. And my wife like only plays it in handheld, so I was like, oh, well, and it was on sale also. The Nitro Deck was on sale on Amazon, and I thought about getting one. I got the pink one. I got the coral one or whatever. And they played it, and I didn't realize that it actually works like a wired controller. Like the Nitro Deck actually plugs into the USB-C. Yeah. It plugs into the bottom of the Switch.
That's why I'm saying it's kind of like a
it's like
lagless.
It's way more responsive. Like that's the first thing Jess said. Like when they were playing it, was like it feels like way more responsive than the Joy-Cons do. And also, right after I got it, they said that the left Joy-Con was drifting, and I was like, well, I didn't even know, but yeah, good thing I got it because.
Yeah.
And then they just handed me the Joy-Cons. It's like I don't need these ever again. No, because I said like driftless, it has the Hall effect joysticks and all that, and it's a solid ass thing. Like
I want to know what it feels like because in my head it feels like like a Wii accessory, like a hard rubber plasticky.
Oh, it's not rubber. It's all
not
plastic.
Rubbery?
Yeah,
it's all hard. Plastic.
It's all hard plastic. No, it feels solid.
I like the thought of it being like more like beat upable because the Switch needs protection. Like.
Oh yeah, no, you would say it would definitely. It is kind of like a phone case to your Switch, except it doesn't protect the screen. Like I guess if you were to drop it, maybe the sticks would protect it a little bit. But cool thing, you can actually snap the top of the sticks off too if you want to like switch them. If you want to have a yellow stick on the left side or whatever,
cool.
You can switch them back and forth.
And
like
you don't have to like open it up. You can just pop them off.
You just pull them off. Yeah, they just.
That's so cool.
They just snap right off. And there's an actual like D-pad, so it's not like the 4 buttons.
If I played Switch Mobile, I would have had one of these things a long time ago because they look so cool. It's just like I think, especially for a Switch OLED, like that makes sense, but it just doesn't make sense for my use case scenario.
It was on sale for like $40. It wasn't that expensive, and I was like, oh well,
That's
you know what?
Price.
Let's just get one. And I did like slot my my OLED in there just to try it out, and I did play a little bit of a Turbo Overkill on there just to see what it felt like, and it did feel really good. And I was like, oh, I kind of want one now. And I was like, oh, you already got those giant Joy-Cons that you bought.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. You don't need another one. But it does feel like more solid than that. But what Jess was telling me, like I said, just that I didn't know that it actually plugs into the USB-C, and it is like a wired controller. Like
so does it have a pass-through plug on it so you can charge it while you play it?
It actually has 2 USB-C charger spots on the back of it.
That's so
to
cool.
charge it. Yeah. So yeah, you just plug it into the back, like you don't have to plug it into the bottom or whatever. And yeah, there's like 2 spots in the back, and this is like nobody would do this, but if you wanted to, you could plug it directly into the dock and dock your Switch and use it as a controller. As like a wired controller.
Right.
Like
that's
it'll
the thing
work
I see.
Too.
Once going back to Backbone, that's
the Backbones do
I
that
think
as
they're
well.
really trying to push on social media, like, you can just use this as a PlayStation controller too.
Well, I was trying to figure out how to charge it because we couldn't figure out where the USB-C plugs were because they're really hidden. Because they're just under. They're like
it's
right.
not.
They're
it
like
doesn't
right
have a
next
battery
to
in it, right?
No, there's no battery. It runs after the Switch. But Jess was actually telling me that it actually runs longer than it does with the Joy-Cons.
Really?
Because because it's charging the Joy-Cons,
Okay.
so it would drain quicker. So that it actually the battery doesn't drain as quick with the setup for the Nitro Deck. So that was another
people who
cool
like Jess is a great
thing about
example
it,
of somebody to talk to about this sort of product because they exclusively play handheld, and I don't ever play handheld. I very rarely play handheld.
Yeah, neither do I. But I mean, the Nitro Deck is real solid, and it does kind of make me, if I was, I've been thinking I was like, if I want to play handheld, I would want to have that because I
does it have a kickstand?
It does have a kickstand. Yeah, that's a very solid kickstand
so
off the
you
back
can
of it
use
too.
Controllers with it, like.
Yes, you can. Yeah, if
separate.
you want to.
Cool.
It does tabletop mode and all that. It has a kickstand.
It's not like a pain in the
middle
ass about
that's really thick.
unpairing from itself since it's directly wired in. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to make your first controller be like wireless, it's not hard to do that.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. And I made a joke about it being like wired in. I was like, you could become the greatest fighting game player of all time with this game because it's wired.
I mean, I'm interested for that reason. Yeah, between fighting games and like FPSs and stuff like that, like Twitch stuff. Like,
I mean, I need a lever. I need like a Nitro Deck leverless that you can just put in there. It's just buttons, and then I'll do it.
You just like dock it on.
I don't know if you remember. I think there was an old like April Fool's joke on IGN where it was like the fighting stick advance where it was like a giant fighting stick and you just stick your Game Boy in the middle of it and it's like 5 times the size of the Game Boy and it has like the giant buttons and the joystick and you just like
when
flop
that came out it was
there.
probably poking fun at the Steel Battalion controller for Xbox.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I loved how hilarious it was, and they had the light gun advance also, where like the gun was twice the size of the Game Boy, and you just like
put
it on
right
the screen, and it takes up the entire screen. I think it was that same year that it had that, but yeah, no, Nitro Deck gets thumbs up from me. I think it's a very solid thing. If anybody who's listening to this plays a lot of handheld games, Nitro Deck is the way to go.
It looks so good. It looks like
it's very cool.
Was meant to look that way when you put the Switch in it. Like, and that's just from photos you've sent me. I think it's a cool thing. I wish I had an excuse to buy it, but I don't.
Yeah, like I said, I thought about getting it, but I was like, yeah, you don't need it. I mean, I play like I rarely.
Maybe when I get
handheld.
the Switch 2, and if there's some kind of like streaming feature or something.
I'm sure they'll make a Nitro Deck for Switch 2 as well. It was pretty popular from what I heard. Like I heard a lot of people talk about it.
Well, no, I don't want to play my Switch 2 on the go. Would be protecting that thing.
Oh, you mean for your other thing? But yeah, Nitro Deck.
Yeah, no, I think if the Switch had like if you had an original Switch and you could kind of do like you did with the PSP and the Vita, or even with the PS4, where you can like stream PS5 games on your PS4. If you could do that with the Switch 1 and play Switch 2 games if you own both platforms, that the Nitro Deck makes so much sense.
They should do that, actually.
Then it's basically your whatever the PlayStation thingy they came out with. I can't remember what that thing's called, but it's essentially
the Portal.
The Portal, yes, it's essentially a PlayStation Portal at that point.
It's funny because it's the PSP, but it's a PS Portal instead of the PS Portable.
I guess they've started like hacking that thing, but it's still
sure. Everybody hacks everything.
It's just a cell phone. It's just another cell phone.
But let me talk about a couple more things, and we'll keep moving on here. Turbo Overkill, still playing that game, but maybe not for that long because the thing about Turbo Overkill, I love this game so much. This like first-person shooter game. It seems to be like every time I'm like playing, I'm like, man, this game is really good. I'm having a great time. There's like something that just comes out right after that to just like throw a wrench into my good time of having or whatever. Because I'm like, this game is... I played this level where you get in a car and you get to fly around all these different things and go to these different buildings and collect all this shit. I'm like, this is fucking great. This game is so fucking great. And then the next level is like this, like... it's basically like, you know, you're in traffic and there's all these different cars and you have to jump from one to another, which a bunch of games are like this. Like I played a level like this on Jedi Academy, which is actually on Switch, which runs great. But this level runs like shit. Like it's really, really bad. Like it got to the point of almost like it was almost like a clip show, you know, it was like picture by picture. And it slows down to the point of like the music slows down even. And it was like And there's a huge, like, fucking boss rush thing at the end, too, where they throw all these fucking guys at you and everything's slowing down. And I'm like getting a headache because it's, like, not working right. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to soldier on and just try to get past this stupid shit. And hopefully they'll patch it later, make it work better. But this level is, like, fucking broken. Like, everything was fine before this, but this one is hella broken. Maybe because there's all these, like, buildings going past you. Maybe there's too many polygons going on or whatever. But it, like, kind of fucks the whole thing over. And I could not get through the level.
That's too bad.
And I was like, I need to take a break.
You were speaking very highly of that game.
No, I love this game. I need to take a break. I actually thought about, and I'll probably still do it, like tagging Apogee on Twitter or something like that, or like doing a capture of this and being like, listen, this level, you guys got to fix this. Like I know you can do it. Like just, you got to take, they said there was going to be an update. You need to update this and make it better because this level's like really, makes it really unplayable. And this game is really good. So, you know, help out the people.
That's got to be really frustrating. If
help
you're
out the people who
swing of the game and it just like kind of comes to a halt because the hardware is not supporting it.
Exactly. Yeah. It help out the people who really like this game who want to play through it. And
what about the developer? Yeah.
I was at the end of the first chapter and there's like 3 chapters, and I was like, oh, I'll just play through the rest of this first chapter. But yeah, this level was just killing. It was just not running right. So
is there any chance that because it's in the demo that it's been patched in the full version? Or?
Oh no, I'm not playing the demo anymore. I'm playing the regular version.
Oh, you are? Okay, that's right.
I got past the demo. The demo only has like 3 levels in it, and I'm like 10 levels in or something like that. I'm way past the demo. The demo only has the first 3 levels. It's after that.
Well, get on it, Apogee, because it's a travesty that we can't keep covering your game because
I did actually. I tagged them a couple weeks back, and they did like our tag or whatever on Twitter. You know, I try to.
We just want to play your damn game. Make it work.
You'd be surprised. I got like a message from somebody on Twitter mentioning the amount of times that I mentioned the Ironfall Invasion game on Switch, and I thought that he was a developer of that game, but no, he's just a fan that just wanted to talk to another person that liked Ironfall Invasion. I was like, well,
that's pretty cool.
I was like, hey, that game was awesome. I was like, oh, that's great. I love everything you do. And they're like, I didn't make it. No, I just really like it. I just want to find other people that like it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, join the Discord. And I'm like, sure, all right, I'll join your Discord, whatever.
I think Discord's kind of the way to go with social media from here on out.
I don't use it. I mean, I used it the most.
I think I'm going to start doing it more.
I used it the most for I used it the most for the AEW group. That's how I met people through that. But that was the only time I used it really. But yeah, there's that.
I think there's a strong push to abandon Facebook, even more so in recent days than there was before.
Oh yeah, definitely. But since Turbo Overkill was not running as well as I wanted it to, and also since I finally made a decent amount of money on stuff, I wanted to buy a new game for full price, and I bought Guilty Gear Strive for $60, which is a full price game. But Guilty Gear Strive is like it's a pretty high level fighting game, which is still like talked about, in the fighting game community and all that. It's at Evo. There's still DLC characters coming to it for free on the Switch version. And this is actually this game is like an impossible port, a Switch impossible port. I've actually watched comparison videos where the loading time is like slightly under the PS5 version. I mean, it might not have the same resolution or whatnot, but I'm just saying it looks really good for a Switch game. And Jeremy, you remember Guilty Gear games and how beautiful those games are. And this game, like, it looks,
heaven or hell.
It looks, heaven or hell. Let's rock. It looks like insane the way it looks. Like that, it has like that same cell shaded look to it, but it's 3D, like because the camera moves around. And there's parts where you can do moves where you like knock them out of the area and they'll fly to like the next thing. And holy shit, like it looks so good. Like, and it's super fluid. I've mostly been playing through the tutorial stuff, and This has like the most epic tutorials I've ever played for a fighting game. Like there's like 5 or 6 different chapters to the tutorial. Like I've cleared like the first 3, but yeah, there's even more, and it's like there's so much you can do in this game, and it's really cool how it explains it to you. And of course, I've been playing it all through the leverless. I did go through the arcade mode a couple times. I tried playing the story mode. There's like a 10-hour story mode as well attached to this game. I was watching it, and I never got to actually play. I watched like an hour that was just anime, just an anime movie. And I'm like, when do I get to play? So I ended up just, quitting it because I was about to fall asleep. But yeah, no, it looks beautiful. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. I didn't play online, but I set up online, and you can create your own online avatar. There's like a 2D world. You can walk around and challenge people, and you can, decide whatever weapon you have to like hit people with when you want to challenge them or whatever. And when you're setting up your online persona, they basically throw a match at you, and depending on how well you do on the match is how they will place you in the tower of greatness of like how good of a fighter you are and all that, which is really cool. Like I said, there's a lot of shit to do in this game. The characters look fucking cool. Like they have some really, really interesting characters that have really unique movesets. I was playing as this lady that had this giant dragon that you like ride on that you can like throw at people, and the animation is incredible, and just the way the characters move, like I don't know, it's cool as hell. And it's nice to be like on the cusp of like what people are talking about in the fighting game community and all that on Switch, because the other big ones are like Tekken 8 and like Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1 to an extent, but that's like a lesser version on Switch, obviously. I know I played it, but it's cool to have something that's, that you could say is like comparable to other systems as far as, because it has 60 FPS, it has rollback netcode. I don't think it's actually, I don't think it actually plays, I don't think it has crossplay, which is unfortunate. I think you only play against Switch people, which means that maybe I can do better, but we'll see. We'll see if I can get enough, bravery to play online. I haven't played any fighting games online because I'm afraid of getting my ass kicked, but I'm trying to build myself up to try it, to get out there. But yeah, anyway, it's really cool, and it's worth the $60, and I can't wait to play people online. Mostly Shake, because I think that's the only one I know of that's going to get it.
And you like your Nitro, or you like your leverless with it?
Oh yeah. I mean, once you like learn that controller, there's no turning back. It's you can't imagine playing without it. It's like learning motion controls for Splatoon or whatever. Like you start it and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, and then eventually you're like, oh, I can never play as well with this.
And because you have the ideal interface as it was originally intended.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the idea. I mean, the thing with the leverless is you can do moves much faster with that than you can with other even fighting sticks. That's why some people wanted to outlaw it or whatever. But I think it's cool, and I'm not
having each input be its own individual button is cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, it's basically like having a giant control pad to fuck around with, and I love it. Like I'll just put it, I'll like hold it here. I'll play it while I'm editing. I'll put it on my chest and be like, it's good shit. Yeah. And there's been some crazy shit that I've done in the tutorial mode that I never thought I would be able to do. There's like where you like do forward and you rush and you block and then you do a super move. And there's like all this, they teach you all this really, really cool shit in there. If you stick with it, they say, yeah, I've seen in the reviews, they say that you will become a great fighter if you make it all the way through the tutorials. Which I've tried some of the later stuff, and there is some crazy shit in there. So, but yeah, it's fun. I like the characters a lot in there, and you can finally get to learn the fate of Soul Bad Guy. I know you always wanted to know what happened to him.
Yeah, what happened to that guy?
I don't know. I have to find out through the story mode. And then aside from that, I started playing Ease 10 again, like the other night, and because it was my game of the year. So yeah, I put a few like 4 or 5 hours back into it. I got to almost the end of chapter 5. Like I got to the point in the game where it's like, hey, figure out your shit because you might not be able to return after this. Because most Ease games, they have side quests that you have to do them within every chapter, otherwise you might miss them. So you don't want to like go through it too quickly. You always want to try to do all the extra stuff.
It's like context sensitive.
Well, I remember
chapter.
I remember Ease 8 had that, but it would show you like it's like, all right, you only have this certain amount of time to do this. So you have to do it before the next, and sometimes if you're not paying attention, you don't know where the end of the chapter is, and it'll be like, oh, well, you failed this other thing because you didn't know it. Anyway, it said that it's like, all right, prepare yourself before you have to talk to the chief. So I'm like, all right, well, let's just get in the boat and just sail around. So I went and I sailed, and I finally noticed that on the map it shows you the percentage of everything that you did, and if you click on every island, it'll tell you like every treasure chest you got, like every buried treasure you got, like all this stuff. So I went through and I 100%ed everything that I had up to that point. And as I said as my nickname, I became the Pickard collector because I found like 3 Pickards in there. They're these little fucking gerbil-looking characters, and they've been in like all the Ys games. And
they're always like engage.
Well, that's what I was going to say. For the last WRT radio that I did, I wanted to find some fun quotes from Oath of Falgana because that was like the last thing I played. I was still kind of in the afterglow of that, and I found this video on YouTube that's just like outtakes or just like the voice actors fucking around for Oath and Felgana, and they're the real voice actors. Like I recognize them because they're in every fucking Ys game. Like that's Dogi, that's the Dogi voice, and the Pickard guy, there is like an outtake where he's like, and this is my Pickard. His name's John Luke Pickard. So they're obviously they obviously know what it is,
self-aware,
and they're making jokes about it. But anyway, you can find these different Pickards to keep on your ship, and they will get you different items. Like if you have them in a cage, and you can, it's like Monster Hunter sort of. You can go over and talk to them, and they will give you shit. Like if you have collected them and whatnot. And I found a lot of cool characters for the ship that I didn't know about. I found this island where this blind lady lives, and there's a Grieger. The Griegers are like the evil things in the game, but there's a Grieger that's in love with her that has just been like bringing her food and basically killing off any other Grieger that's there. And he does, and you find him and you like beat him, and he's like, don't kill me. He's like, I don't want you to tell her that I've been helping her out or whatever. He's like, I'm in love with this woman, and it's funny. It reminds me of like the old like the Toxic Avenger and his blind wife, or like
it reminds me of
like the Thing and Alicia Masters. Like
wasn't there
the blind girl that loves the monster or whatever?
Wasn't there a character on one of the islands in Wind Waker who was in love with a moblin? Like she was the rich.
Oh yeah, probably. It does.
Kind of reminds me of that.
It does have a lot of Wind Waker feels to it too, which I really love. Like going from island to island, but the islands are a little bit bigger, I think.
Remember, you like pass the love letters between them or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But it was really cute that I could find. You find a Grieger that's in love with this lady, and Car just like, I think we should kill him, and you're like, no, leave him alone. He didn't do anything. Just let him be. He's just trying to just take care of this lady. But no, I found a lot of cool stuff that if I would have just like continued on with the story, I would have missed all this stuff. So I'm glad that I went and explored all the extra shit. And
you should.
And it got me back into Ys 10 too. So I was like, I'm like, I want to see the next thing. So like, it kind of brought me back into the game, and I really, really wanted to, I wanted to finish it. I wanted to get more into it. And after playing something like Turbo Overkill, that kind of like really doesn't run well.
Once you turn your brain off,
Ys 10 runs nicely. It's only 30 frames, but it's a solid 30 frames. Like it does.
You said it was developed from the ground up for Switch, and then
it was made specifically for Switch, and then up-res for other systems. But yeah, it has a higher frame rate on PS5, but it runs hella great on Switch as it is, and it's super cool.
I hope to own this game someday. This is something I really want to play. I enjoyed it, and I do have Lacrimosa of Donna on my PS5 still, and I haven't really.
That's a Vita game too. That is actually originally a Vita game.
Cool.
Lacrimosa of Donna. I didn't even know that, but that's a Vita game also. Which is wild. Like that's that was my like favorite.
That's only
game of that year,
2 entries ago.
Yeah, but no, I thought about you because they had a big crazy Falcom sale because Trails of Daybreak 2 like just came out, and whenever they have a new Falcom game come out, they put everything on sale. But they didn't put the only thing that was on sale was like the super duper mega version of Ys 10. So it's like
like $80.
It's like you can buy the $200 for like $170 or something. Like it was really stupid, like the sales. But I looked out, I was like, well, maybe it'll be on sale. But they didn't have the regular version.
I will own this game eventually.
Well, I wanted to look out for you in case you were able to get to it. But anyway, that's good for me. I said enough. You guys talk about your stuff.
John, what did you play this week?
Well, I played more Tears of the Kingdom. I beat the Spirit Temple, which I completely...
Nice.
I thought you beat all the temples.
I thought so, too. I just forgot about the Spirit Temple. Like, it was so funny because I was going for something else entirely, and I just went to the warp point, which was nearest that thing that I was going for, and I turned to the right, and there's this giant door that I just never opened. It's like, let me go open this giant door, and then the door leads to a hallway, which leads to stairs going down, which leads to this like owl mask. Like, I've just completely neglected this entire corner of the game.
Your hero's path didn't let you know that, did it?
Well, it resets like every 200 hours or something like that, right?
Oh, that's right. Your hero's path reset, or
it reset. So, I mean, I wasn't even looking at the hero's path at that moment, just because I was so distracted by the giant door, and obviously I hadn't been there before. Like it went to the animation. Well, ooh, this door is so heavy. Let me push on the door. You know, it wouldn't have done that if I had been there before. So I was like, I know I haven't been here before. It was just the funniest thing is because I'd been to the spot. I had the warp point, which was a shrine. You know, I'd been to the shrine. I beat the shrine.
Is that the one that's way up high in the sky?
It's way up high in the sky.
Yeah. That one was fun because I got there using like vehicles when I wasn't supposed to be there yet.
Oh, you got there early, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this game is brilliant. Everybody gets to things in their own way, in their own pace, and all that.
I was like, well, I'm here because I wanted to mark it off the map, and I wasn't ready for it yet.
Yeah. I just somehow forgot about it. So I went and I beat the Spirit Temple, which was cool, and the reward that you get for it was awesome. I'll go ahead and say it because, you know, almost 2 years on for this one. You get a mech.
It's fine. I'll forget about it. You get what?
You get a mech.
What?
Like literally a mech. Like a mech robot.
I know what you're talking about. The one that's like underground where you have to collect the things, right? You have to put like 5 things together.
Well, it starts.
I guess that's every temple. You have to find like 5 things, right?
Well, they eventually like some of the temples are like all 3 levels where you have to like, or some of the objectives you have to like do stuff on all 3 levels to complete them.
I mean, but the temple, like the dungeons or whatever of
I know,
Tears
like
of the Kingdom,
labyrinths.
I felt like they were all like collect 5 things or like do something to 5 things. Like they were all very similar in that way. And I did get to the Spirit Temple or whatever, but I was like, let's go try to do other things. But that's where I was at in the game. Like I still needed to do that. And then you're, you know, that's like the last temple, right? Like
I don't like the
mech. The end.
It's the last temple. I don't know if it was required that I'm assuming it was. You know, again, this game you can beat it like in any order
I think it's
that you
required.
want. So, I think so. But
you have to, well, I mean, do you have to do all that? Couldn't you just go to Ganondorf and Breath of the Wild and do it, right? Like, do you have to do the temples, or do they just help you out? Like for,
I think they just
how strong
help you out. I don't know.
I didn't
You're
think
probably right because I think this is like
I don't think you have to do them.
Game.
Because I remember people
because it's
doing,
like way down in the depths, like, and you have to do this crazy shit to like.
Yeah, because I think you can,
and then.
Yeah, I think you can. Well, I know Breath of the Wild, you could go straight to Ganondorf, and if you were good enough, you could beat him without doing any of the other temples. And I thought this one worked the same way.
So I hear you on the mech, and I don't disagree. Like I don't love it, but it is like a nice helpful thing to have around.
It's like, what do you do with it? Like, what is
you ride it?
Eventually you have a party. Like, this is the Zelda game with a party,
right?
Eventually, and
ghost party.
The mech kind of represents the like ultimate secondary party member because you can use it as a vehicle as well.
You can use it as a vehicle. You can upgrade it and customize it. You can add cannons to the arms or rockets or whatever you want. But it's just cool to have another thing around that's like watching out for you.
It's kind of like a construct that you don't have to build,
right?
You know, you've always got it around.
It's always hanging around. Yep. And when you ride it, I found a couple times now I've been in the middle of like a fight against like a Gliok or something, and I accidentally jumped on the mech, and I didn't mean to
because your guys are just swarming by you like while you're fighting,
right? And then you hit the A button, and all of a sudden you're in the mech. So that's a little annoying, but not terrible, not game breaking or anything.
I just thought, like, for what it was not as cool as I would have hoped. I would have liked if it could like just fly infinitely or something. You know what I mean? Like if it was like the ultimate vehicle.
like the equivalent of the bike or something.
Uh-huh.
The grand prize at the end of the game. That would have been cool. Yeah, it's not as cool as other mechs in pop culture. It's not like a giant thing.
It's no Gundam.
Stomp across the fields and all that.
It's literally a Zonai construct. It's just
does it have a sword and a shield?
Regard.
Does it have a sword and a shield like a Gundam?
Nope.
No.
Kind of, but it's like equipable. Like you equip stuff to the arms and stuff. So in a way, you can do that. But yeah,
and it does have an automatic shield.
You're equipping it the same way you equip yourself. So like you can give it like the Bolson shield or the Boson shield or whatever, that's my favorite shield, which is just a wooden cutout of Boson. Yep. You can give it that to your
Mark Boson from IGN.
Yeah,
or I guess he's from
Bolson or how I can't remember how you say.
Or he's from Way Forward now, I guess.
Son and done. Yep. So I did that, and aside from the Spirit Temple, I found a shrine that I hadn't found randomly. I was just perusing the sky for something else, and there's a little shrine down there with.
Isn't
the
it
green
good to
smoke
find
coming
that?
out.
Isn't it fun to find that and be like, how did I miss this? It's
How did I miss
a nice little treat. It's like finding M&Ms like in your bed or something. You're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I forgot I was eating M&Ms like a week ago, and I've got some M&Ms left here.
I would think since you're like 600 hours into the game that you would know like where all the shrines are, right? Because they're, because they all, the underground trees that you find, they're all like they mirror each other, right? So you
except this one is in the sky, so the ones in the sky don't have an analogous one on the ground or anything.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, the ones in the sky they don't tell you where they are.
But it was just another spot on the map where it was like, it says I haven't been there, but now because the hero's path mode is racing itself, because I'm past the 256 hour mark, well past. I was second guessing.
That's some coding shit for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
256. That's got to have something to do with coding.
That's like a limitation or something. Hard limit.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have the game testers play it for that long or something to know when it was reset. Or maybe that's all it could hold, like for how much memory it would remember where you were or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I was second guessing had I been there or not, because I found a little island in the sky with no markings on it, and thankfully I took a chance and went to check it because there was a temple. So, or not a temple, a shrine.
I love hearing that you're still finding this stuff like this far into it.
It boggles my mind every time. I'm still finding the stupid guy holding up the sign. Like I'm 650 hours into the game or something like that.
And those are so fun. Those are such fun challenges.
Those were like my favorite ones. Yeah, the support guys. But I mean, I take it you haven't tried to go for that final bubble frog, right? Or you just found these other things in the process of trying to find.
You have more than one bubble frog, right?
I just have one left.
Yeah,
really?
So. Yeah. Last week, you talked about
that's
your
right.
final
That's
one.
right. That's right.
Yeah, I've only got one left, and so I decided. Well, last week I talked about I need to go back and do my system again. Go to the cherry blossom tree and look for the lights and all that stuff.
The blue bunnies.
I decided, I have other stuff to do. I think rather than get frustrated looking for a needle in a haystack, I'm gonna try and do other things. I'm gonna leave the bullfrog sensor on. So, and maybe in the course of doing the other things that I need to do and
You'll
want to do, I'll find the
bullfrog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's probably in Ganon's ass.
That's it. Just shove that sword right up there. And
gotta beat Ganon. It's like, but bullfrog's done. End game. Over.
And then, so I'm doing the outfits. I decided to upgrade my outfits. That's what I'm going to focus on. So I made a list of all the things that I need. I have it on my phone. I know what items to look for. So I've been going across the land and looking for beetles and all sorts of stuff to upgrade my outfits. Yes, I want to upgrade all my outfits to the max too before I beat the game.
I mean, you're already set to just walk through the end game. The end game is fun, but I'm just saying, like, you got your mech, like, you're ready to finish this game.
Ready to kick ass, yep.
More so than you already were.
I would say, this isn't Tears of the Kingdom, but I was kind of feeling the same way for Ys 10 when I was finding, like, all of the hidden treasures. Like, you get so many, like, stat upgrades or whatever, where I was like, I'm, like, kind of overloading myself a little bit. Which, why not?
I don't think there's anything wrong with vacuum up content, and that's what John's doing. But
That's what I'm doing.
you're going to be more disappointed in the boss the more powerful you are. I think
Exactly.
That's just kind of how final bosses go. So, you're going to have less of a challenge. It'll be fun, but it'll be a shade of what it would have been if you would have tried to beat it earlier.
Yeah. That was kind of what I was doing with Yakuza also, where I'm just doing all the side missions. So, yeah, whenever I get to the end, I'll just kind of just walk through it, because I'm fully, because I was, super overloading my character.
Zelda, you're always fighting God at the end.
Because I like doing all the side quests and all that.
Right. So I'm sure I'll still enjoy the end regardless.
Oh, you will. It's the best Zelda ending ever.
That's what I keep hearing from everybody. Yeah,
that's what I keep hearing from this podcast right here from
Nintendo. somehow I don't know anything about the ending other than that it's the greatest Zelda ending ever. So
it's the best.
That's what that's what I'm saying. That's all I know too. Just because I've heard it on here, I haven't heard anybody else talk about it.
Well, and I like the way that I'm playing this game right now because it's also I'm trying to save money at the moment. So there's all these other games coming out, and it's like great to squeeze all the juice out of this one, and it's really keeping me occupied and satisfied.
This game was made for that. Like this is this is what Nintendo does. They make these games that are like, well, they don't always do it, but like they make these games that are with their Zelda franchise, especially where it's just like you're going to be squeezing content out of this for years to come. And well, obviously, it came out almost 2 years ago at this point, and you're still finding new things.
Right.
That's a well-made video game right there.
That's I think it's the best game ever made. If I have to name a best game of all time, I think it's this.
Sure.
So,
I'll give you that. It's one of my favorites. It's my favorite Zelda ending. I don't know if it's my favorite Zelda game, but it's my favorite as far as how it deals with everything, and it really pays off.
I'd be interested to see the end of it. My favorite ending and Zelda game is Majora's Mask, so that's a lot to live up to because that ending.
That's a great ending.
That
ending
was fucking incredible.
I think Link to the Past had one of the best Zelda endings ever, and Ocarina of Time had nothing on it. Majora's Mask was approaching it, but I think that this is better than that.
I mean, Majora's Mask always had that. I always loved. Well, if you collected all the masks, it had an incredible ending.
Two other things this week, quick things. So I was at my sister's house, and she's clearing out a bunch of old books from the kids. And then I grabbed this one, which is a book that I gave my nephew. It's a Nintendo Collection sticker book. I was like, well, if they're going to donate it, I'll just take it back. Sure. So
they're re-gifting it to you, sort of.
Re-gifted it to myself. Yep.
Re-gifting it to who bought it for you.
Yep. So it's a Nintendo sticker book. Still got all the stickers in it.
So you bought it for yourself.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, if they're getting
but that's cool because you could still show it to your nephew later and be like, don't you miss this book?
It's like, hey, I bought this for you, and then you gave it away.
Yep.
Jerk. Toss my feelings out. My feelings I gave to you. Toss them out the window.
My feelings remain unstuck.
I don't think he had any part in selecting the books. I mean, they have hundreds of books, and I think she just went through and grabbed a bunch that she knew that they didn't use or look at anymore. So, yep. I'm hanging on to that one. And then another thing that I grabbed out of the trash, I found a drink cart this week. I just took a turn down a street I don't normally go down, and there somebody had on their curb a drink cart, like a nice, I'm not talking about like a hotel thing, but I'm talking about a nice antique looking wood drink cart with wheels, and you can fold the table out and everything. What's that?
Some prohibition shit.
Yeah, it looks old, like it looks old. Looks like it's an antique. And it's nice and has, nice woodworking and curves and all that kind of stuff.
That was the video games back in the days. If you had a good mini bar at your home, that's why people would come over.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a drink
that'd be like a centerpiece.
Yeah.
So I have it in my house right now, right by the kitchen.
Is that why you need alcohol, not because of other recent world events?
I need alcohol for all of the above. But yeah, that was the main reason. I realized I don't have any liquor to put on this cart.
That's kind of cool. I do also wonder, could you repurpose it? Could you make it like could you tie it into your like little mini arcade and make it somehow apply to that?
Well, that's what I did today. So I went through.
I saw the picture. You put a lot of other stuff on there.
Yeah, I put a lot of other stuff. And actually, I updated it since then. I'll throw it on the Slack if you care to look. So I just went through and I found all the tchotchkes and video game stuff and whatever I could that's related to drinking. So I put my I put a barrel. I have a whiskey barrel that Rich gave me because he used to work for a liquor distributor, and I've always intended to make it into a Donkey Kong barrel. So I
like
put
a barrel arcade or just a barrel?
No, it's a little barrel. It's only like a gallon or something like that.
Okay.
Yep. So I put it up there next to Donkey Kong, and I put the drink coasters. Remember, I got
Oh yeah,
the drink coasters, NES coasters, little cartridges.
Yeah, we have them too.
I got the Hanafuda cards. Going for like a drinking and playing cards theme or whatever. Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Still haven't used these for anything, but they're still here.
I love the idea of tying that to your arcade theme you already have, because it totally fits the theme if executed correctly.
Yeah, I think it's all starting to look like, this looks like something. So,
and you're taking something that somebody else just cast aside and giving it new life. And
right, and
so
I
cool.
just can't believe someone would throw this away. Like, I mean, if anything, put it up on Facebook Marketplace and make
maybe they're a recovering
$50 or
alcoholic
whatever.
and they can't have it around.
Yeah.
Maybe that's true.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, that area you deliver in Michigan, they're throwing a lot more stuff away because I don't see anything. But also, I'm not really on the look for grabbing stuff. I'm mostly just trying to make money.
I mean, this is old school dumpster diving stuff. Like you're going to find better stuff in richer neighborhoods and subdivisions and suburbs and stuff, because people are just find it easier to get rid of something instead of going through whatever trouble it takes to recoup their expense.
Right. Yeah, this neighborhood it's a nicer neighborhood. I live in an apartment in the neighborhood. I'm not trying to say like I live in a nice house or something like that, but it's a nice neighborhood, and so people are throwing out better quality stuff, I guess.
Furniture especially is so subjective, because a lot of people, when they grab a piece of furniture, it's the potential they see. So I like that you're doing it that way, because whoever it was that had it before didn't see the potential that you did. And so you're really like giving that new life. And I like that.
Well, thank you. Oh, and I got the NintenDomain cup on there too. Mug.
I see it there, yeah.
Glass.
Yep.
You
should bring the He-Man thing back up though. You could put everything on top of it. It got demoted to the bottom there.
It's a little buried. Yeah, it's on the bottom now. I had this old vintage He-Man tray, which was cool. Like,
it's a cool thing.
I would use it as a kid. It's like,
what were you wearing in that costume tray?
What?
It was a vintage He-Man tray. So I was
a vintage He-Man tray.
Well, I mean, my mom did actually make me what was it, the underwater guy? I forget what his name is, but she did actually make me an outfit of that. I probably have it in the spare room in a box somewhere.
Early cosplay.
Merman.
Yeah. Merman, yeah, that was it. Merman was my early He-Man costume that I had in grade school. So there you go. You didn't know if you asked me that I had actually had a response for that one, for my He-Man costume. But my mom made me the whole thing with the suspenders and all that for that one. It was pretty cool. She was a seamstress. Oh, she made me a Jedi robe too, which I still have.
That's it for me.
All right, well, let's talk about the news then. Oh wait, no, Jeremy hasn't said anything. Sorry.
It's okay. I don't have a lot to say. That's why I put John first. So this week I played a lot more of RoboCop, and I talked a little bit about it last week, and I was a little bit middling about how I felt about it, but I took the difficulty down to the easiest it could be, and then I started having a lot of fun with it because I started upgrading RoboCop, and I don't know, it just became a lot more fun. So it's a cool game. It's I think when it first came out, it was kind of panned as being like I don't know, a broken game, but like in all the best ways, because it looks like an 80s RoboCop sequel when you're playing it. You're looking at that face of whatever his name is, the guy that played RoboCop, but that's his face, Peter, whatever his name is. Like,
Willer.
Yeah, it's his face.
Yeah,
and
he's credited on IMDb for it.
And yeah, they got a lot of the original voice actors and stuff in there. So it's like watching a just gratuitous sequel to RoboCop from the 80s, and it's so fun. Once I really got more into the gameplay, like I said, I dropped the difficulty, but once I got more into upgrading and sort of like prioritizing my missions and stuff, it's just such a good game. And it's not perfect, it's got so many glitches in it, but like I will say, one of the funniest things is one of the last like missions before the final boss, which by the way, I haven't beaten the final boss yet. I'm stuck on it not in a bad way. It's just it's
But
tough in
the
a good
final
way.
boss is what ED209 or whatever.
It's a giant robot. Spoilers,
Yeah.
like I said at the top.
Yeah, but
it's RoboCop 2. They literally reveal it in the game, like that they have RoboCop 2.
I would say, is it the giant robot from 1, or is it a different
No,
one?
you fight Ed multiple times in this game. In fact, and that's what I was about to say. So there's a mission you do towards the end where it's the closest this game gets to open world or whatever, where you're running around whatever the mapped or whatever the mapped version of Detroit is that they have, and there's like little reticules you run towards, and then you do a little mission there, and that's the most fun I've had with the game. was this last little field mission before you actually go fight the final boss or whatever. And
what I want to know is when you defeat ED209, does it squeal like a pig like it did in the original RoboCop? Because if it doesn't, you got to stop playing this game right now. They don't understand RoboCop.
It makes a really strange sound when it right before it explodes. I don't know if it's a squeal of a pig, but I did notice
it was a really cool sound design
Foley
choice
shit,
to have the because in the first one when it falls down it squeals.
You definitely get to see
weird.
It's in a cinematic,
it's like a pig recording, like a recording of a pig squealing.
In a cinematic, you get to watch Ed murder one of your friends or whatever. That happens in this game. Just like I think that's what originally took out RoboCop in the original game or whatever. No, not that. That was when they realized it was problematic technology or whatever. But
Ed 209 fell down the stairs, and that's when you heard the pig squeal in the first one.
But what's really funny is
because he didn't understand stairs.
I had already fought 2 Eds.
The feet were
the first Ed I fought was the hardest one because I'm in a room and the sort of arena is set up in a certain way where you can kind of hide behind things or whatever. But Ed's coming after you, and you got your weak spot you got to hit. And that was the hardest Ed fight. The second Ed fight, I literally got up on a platform where he couldn't even shoot me because his guns couldn't go up all the way, and I just took him out. And then the third time I fought him, the first time he just annihilated me because it was this part I'm telling you about, the quote unquote open world, whatever you want to call it, sort of mission you have towards the end. And he just completely wrecked me. So I'm well, I'm going to do this in a different order. So I started doing other missions, and I saved the Ed one towards the end. I ran over to do the Ed mission, and he was literally, the robot was halfway spawned in the ground.
Oh.
So I just stood over it and just executed it in slow motion while it was just stuck in the ground. And
first he couldn't figure out stairs, then he couldn't figure out floors.
Yeah. So the last time I fought Ed,
couldn't figure out ground.
Was just hilarious.
Should I be above or below? I don't know.
This glitched out. If I was a real gamer, I would reload it or whatever because obviously it's
no. If the game fucked up on its own, then
I'm
the game's
I'm just
fault.
gonna stand here over this giant robot who's halfway spawned in the ground and just execute the fuck out of it because everything it's shooting at me isn't doing anything because it's all stuck in the ground. So
there was
fun.
There was a thing like that. What was it? Mummy Demastered, that game that I really loved. I think the final boss, there was a glitch where the boss didn't move, and I just shot the fuck out of him and won that way. And I recorded it and put it on YouTube because I felt triumphant because
I think there were 3 different bosses.
And I was just I fuck you up, and I just destroyed him.
I think there were 3 different bosses between Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree where something glitched out, and I took advantage of it to get past the boss. So, if that's in the game, I stand by the fact that,
if it happens, it happens.
It happens. But this game is very glitchy, so keep that in mind if you're going to play it. But it's fun, and I don't like shooters that much. I've said that a lot on the show.
Put it on Switch too.
FPSs.
I really wanted to play it, but
this is a great FPS. This is a fun adventure FPS where you're RoboCop, and it's just, propaganda aside, because that's there in spades.
But he's better.
It feels like a true, it feels like a true sequel to the first RoboCop movie. And I never saw RoboCop 2 or 3, so I don't know what 2 is like.
I like 2,
but this is supposed to be the real 2, where it takes off immediately after. You've got the same partner, and all that, and she's kind of your
except for not
to reality.
Well, I mean, it's not the actual actor.
It's not the actual actor, but it's the same. It's the same character.
She was in the Carrie movie, I think. I just watched that recently because I listened to the book on.
But yeah, I'm literally on the last boss. The last boss is super cinematic and cool, and I haven't beat him yet. I've tried him 3 different times, and it's kind of a slog in the sense that he just has like crazy amount of health. But it's a multi-tier boss battle where it takes place in multiple places and all that. And if you die, you have to start all over again. So that's why I'm stuck on the final boss. But I don't feel bad about it because I know I will beat it eventually. I've gotten very close multiple times. Well, like I said, I played it 3 times, and I was very close to beating him 1 and 3. And then the second time, I just tried this whole new strategy that didn't work. So that doesn't count. But you're essentially like in a giant tower, and he's blowing holes in the floor, and you're falling down to different floors as you fight him. It's just really cool. It's a really nice cinematic arena where you're trapped in the skyscraper, but he's blowing holes in the floor, so you're going from floor to floor, and each floor has different spots you can kind of hide out and all that, and find weapons and stuff. So it's a cool game. I think I want to see more games like this, honestly. Like, I think the Indiana Jones game that came out recently is very much in this sort of trend of like, well, if we're gonna make a game, based off this old property, why not make it look like the 80s? Why not make it look like you run around and like, all the cars look like they're from the 80s, and like all the technology is cool, but it's like monochromatic screens and stuff, like it makes sense for the time, and something about that is just,
it's like they play it
just makes it more fun.
They're playing it not as the game version of the movie. They're playing it as the next
movie
sequel.
version of the game.
Yeah. That's cool.
And it's a cool game, and I think it has a special place in history for that. I don't even know anything about the developers or anything, but this is a solid piece of gaming that I think both of you would enjoy, especially you, Trey.
I'm intrigued.
From what I've seen between the Indiana Jones game and the RoboCop game, I 100% want to play the RoboCop game than the Indiana Jones game. I don't think it looks that great, honestly, to tell you the truth.
That's fair. I think it's more about...
It has this weird uncanny valleyness to it also. I think that maybe that's my own problem.
The way the characters look
kind of freak me out because they look very unhuman. But RoboCop, it makes sense because you are
but
like
it does make sense.
Robots. Yeah. Well,
even like the NPCs are, weird looking, but everything just makes sense aesthetically for how the game is. And your, maybe there's something in my head as a gamer and as a podcaster where I'm like, this feels like it was made in the early 2000s, and that's good for this particular game. Like, it actually, the glitchiness, the bugginess, the weirdness makes sense for what it's trying to do because it just feels all the more authentic for it.
Sure.
And so, there's not a whole lot of games that can get that kind of pass from me, but this is one of the few.
I mean, if I had a way to play the RoboCop game, I would have played it already. But it's only on PS5, so I can't. But if they put it on Switch too, fuck yeah, I'll get it.
It's good.
But I honestly kind of felt the same way about Turbo Overkill. You know what you're saying about like how it's okay to glitch out because like one of my favorite games of last year, Slayer's X, Terminal Aftermath. There are parts that glitch out in that game, but it's supposed to be like that because it's made by a kid. But it doesn't like fuck it up as much as that Turbo Overkill level does, But I forgave any sort of frame drop that was in that game. Made sense because it was supposed to be made by this angsty high schooler or whatever, So I will say,
there's never been a moment when I've been playing this game where I've been like, I felt limited by the programming or whatever, Things get glitchy, but it's never to my detriment. It's always to my benefit if something glitches out. So for that reason, I give this 4 out of 5 RoboCop stars.
4 out of 5 RoboCop middle finger stabbing things.
Yeah.
In your neck.
I'm always on duty. That's Inspector Gadget who says that. I was trying to think of like a catchphrase for RoboCop, but mostly it's just like, drop your weapons and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, he says like, he had phrases.
Shit.
It's been a minute since I've seen.
He just says cop shit.
I think he said, I am the law.
This game's not as cool about that because you're actually like participating in a mayoral election and how you're like affecting the outcome of the game in that regard and stuff too. So I also think that once I beat this game, I might play it again, especially if it offers a new game plus, because there's been some pathways I could have taken that might have changed outcomes. And so I'm interested in that.
There it is. RoboCop's catchphrase was, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me."
He never says that in this game.
Well, he doesn't.
Oh wait, no, he does say that. He does say that. To the final boss,
he says it in the movie. That's the one.
He
I was
says it
trying
to the
think
final
of.
boss.
Yeah, dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yep, he says it to the final boss, and that's who I'm fighting now.
I was gonna say I knew there was a catchphase in there. Tell me somebody says I'll buy that for $1, because if they aren't, you need to stop playing the game.
There is
forever.
No, there's a vagrant that you talk to who's like a conspiracy theorist. He says shit like that.
I say somebody has to say.
He actually ends up being one of your main informants because he says all this stuff about how he thinks aliens are taking over Detroit, but he actually offers you all this really solid information, even though he's misconstruing it. So you know where to go and where to find the anomalies because of his information. And he's just viewed as like this crazy homeless guy, but he actually is a super solid source of information. He's just misguided.
Sure. There was a really good RoboCop comic, too, that was supposed to take place between 1 and 3. I mean, this was way before this game came out, but if you could track
it's really
that
funny.
down,
Your
it's
informant's
really
name
too.
Your informant's name is Pickles in this, too. And it's just really funny hearing RoboCop be like, Pickle, where is Pickles? And he's like your vagrant informant who you end up like, well, he was a different cop's informant, but you end up finding out that cop got murdered. Spoilers, but he becomes your informant after that cop dies because he wants to help avenge his death or whatever. That's a different vagrant than the other one I was talking about.
I mean, your spoiler earlier, I'm curious to see what the actual boss is because in RoboCop 2, there were multiple RoboCop 2s, so it's like which one is the actual boss?
Well, there were a
bunch of different ones.
Yeah. Well, what is his name? Max Becker is like a huge figure in this game and the unofficial boss of the game, I think.
Unofficial. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm done.
That? Anyway, let's talk about a couple things of news for the week.
News. Don't snooze or you miss the news.
Just want to go through some stuff really quickly, and I do want to talk about the new Xenoblade re-release stuff. There might be a chance of a re-release of Tony Hawk 3. I don't know if you looked into this, but I guess the Breakfast Club podcast, there was a person on there.
Is that Charlemagne the God?
Yeah, Charlemagne the God. Is he a skateboarder, or they're a skateboarder?
No, they're just a very influential like voice in hip hop.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, somebody was talking about skateboarding, and they kind of just went into them making an appearance in a new Tony Hawk game that was coming out soon, and that's what is letting people know that maybe there's going to be a re-release of 3 and 4. So that would be cool if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're printing money for themselves.
Well, they did. They shut down the company, right? That did the first 1 and 2, but
I'm sure like the music licensing is the hardest part.
Oh yeah. That costs a lot. But I mean, there is like a lot of people that would buy these games, ourselves included and all that.
Myself included, exactly.
So that's going. One thing I was really excited about, Night Dive Studios announced, weirdly, I found this very confusing. They announced that they were doing System Shock 2 for Switch, but there was actually already a remake of System Shock 1 that came out on PS4 and 5, and I was waiting for that to get for that to get a Switch release, but I wouldn't expect they'd do 2 before they did 1, but they announced that they're doing a Switch version for 2. So I'm like, okay.
Is that the same developer who ported 1? Or?
Yeah, it's Night Dive Studios.
Okay, so that is.
They're like,
I wonder if they're not going to be like, get both for this price or something like that.
Well, they do. Yeah, they do so many really good first-person shooter remakes. But System Shock 1 was supposed to be really, really good, but it never was going to come to Switch for whatever reason. But now they're doing 2 for Switch.
These are the games that eventually became
but
BioShock.
Not 1. Well, inspiration for BioShock.
Before Onron came in there.
Yeah, well, before inspiration by those works, which I've tried to read those before. They're difficult.
I shrug.
They gave a release date for E's memoir, Memories of Celceta, which actually takes place before Felghana. I know, it's very confusing. I thought that it would be the next one, but it actually takes place before that one even. They gave a release date for the Japanese version, but not the American version, which makes me sad because I want it to come out at the same time. In Falcom, they have I think they use NIS to do the translating, and sometimes it'll take like a whole year before it'll come out after. So we may not actually see Memoirs of Celceta on Switch. So I don't know. Buy it on PS4 and 5. It's on there.
Maybe on Switch too.
Something that I was really excited about. The PlayStation Vita exclusive Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Battle Destiny is coming to Switch. And I don't know. I just love seeing these Vita remakes on Switch or re-releases. Maybe it just goes back to that guy that I had a fight with in the comments section at the beginning of the Switch, who told me that the Switch would never live up to the Vita. And it has 100 times over.
I mean, it's pretty much the
yeah. It's like the new
successor
Vita.
to the Vita, yeah.
Well, I mean, I've said before, like, you know, I always wanted a Vita so I could play Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 4 Golden is on Switch. You know, I put like 40 hours into that thing. So I did like a third of it or whatever. But I mean, I just love seeing, and like the Tokyo Xanadu, like that was a Vita game too, like that plays really well. And Oath and Felghana, that was a PSP game. But I love seeing these weird like PlayStation portable games, like whatever system. I mean, mostly because it's weird Japanese games that I love. I just love seeing them all getting ported to Switch. And yes, bring them all over. I will get all of them. I'm still planning on getting Freedom Wars at some point. Apparently, that's another really weird Vita game that's on Switch now. Or like, what was it? It's not the Monster Hunter ones, but the ones that are like that, the Demon Slayer, whatever, those Vita games also. I always want to try those out. But yeah, there's a lot of cool shit coming in that way, and I say bring it over. We mentioned it earlier. Glover has a release date. It's coming out on the 27th of February.
This almost seems like a joke.
Like next week.
We've been talking about Glover coming out on the Switch for, I feel like it's been years now.
People love that game. They love it.
But it's been
I want to try it out, yeah.
It's almost like, why isn't it out yet? I don't know. It's kind of funny. I thought it was already out.
It's like almost less than a week. Oh yeah, and this one makes me very happy. I don't know. I'm sure you've heard about this one. This was like on a lot of people's Game of the Year list for last year. But Mouthwashing is coming to Switch. I watched a video of it, and it looks like this weird ass PlayStation 1 horror game. And yeah, I'm 100% in on that. But I've heard a lot of people saying that they really loved it. And I love horror games, and I love like these low poly PS1 looking like games that come out. So yes, please, let's do it. So I'm on board for that. It doesn't have a release date yet, but I would love to play it because it was on a lot of people's Game of the Year stuff.
I would love to play it on the Switch because it's been on my watch list or whatever on Steam and stuff. Like I don't know. There's a lot of these games that come out where I'm just like, I could play it on my PC, but I don't want to sit upstairs on my PC. I want to play on my TV downstairs.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to play. I don't want to play anything on my computer. I don't like sitting at my desk here. I'd rather sit on a couch or a recliner or whatever.
That's why handhelds are so nice because they're not computers. Well, they are, but they're not laptops or whatever. Yeah, I like playing on my TV, and I've got a Steam Link. Maybe I could make that work, but I've not fucked around with it. I mean, it's right here. I've thought about hooking it up and putting it through its paces through the cables and stuff, but I haven't because I don't want to, because I don't care that much.
Me either. Yes.
I have the Steam Link and I have the Steam controller, so I'm all set for Steam Deck type life without a Steam Deck.
Sure. The big thing I wanted to talk about before we go here, though, is the new details about the Xenoblade Chronicles X re-release. And I just, this is a good one to end on, because then I can end on that incredible song that you may not have to listen to anymore. Huh? So all of the Xenoblade Chronicles X remake preview stuff is out now. I actually watched like 20 plus minutes on Nintendo Life earlier today about just showing like comparisons to the Wii U version versus the Switch version. Everything looks brighter, like there's more detail in the characters' faces. You can tell that. But there's some really cool stuff like in the actual gameplay, which you understand. So I wanted to tell it to you here if you haven't read it yet. But let me just go through the list. Resolution increased. I already said that. The main thing. This is a huge thing for me because it's kind of killed me as to where I was at. Now you can change your party members at any time. You do not have to find them in New LA anymore. I'm sure you remember that, where you had to actually track them down. And because because I was playing the Wii U version like not that long ago. Like maybe it was here in this house. It was like maybe last year or something. And I'd gotten past this area that I'd been stuck on for so long, and actually beat it. And then they were like, "Your affinity is not high enough with this character for you to go to the next chapter." And I'm like, I cannot find this character. Where the fuck is this character? I don't even know where they are. I can't even find them to put them on my team to go do whatever to raise their affinity. Now you can change them whenever you want. Also, they have where it auto levels, like even if they're not in your party, which every game should have.
That's huge,
especially when you have a whole bunch of characters. Like fuck yeah. Another thing was I don't know if you remember, there were like certain like treasures that you couldn't find because like your treasure finding level wasn't high enough or whatever.
Yep.
They're completely getting rid of that. So you can find treasures whenever the fuck you find them. Like what John was saying earlier about Tears of the Kingdom, like that sort of thing, which they worked on that game as well.
Yeah.
Monolith did. So
I'm excited just because of that. Like, could this be the best looking game on Switch? It might be.
Well, I mean, it looks. I was, like I said, I was watching a lot of comparison stuff, and it looks very good. But that's a huge thing where you can. There's no barrier of entry for whatever treasure you find. If you find it, you found it. Like you don't have to have a certain level of abilities or tech or whatever to get to it. That's awesome. Also, they said that like the affinity is like going to go up higher now. It's going to go quicker, than it would. So to help you get through that. This is just when I'm going from memory. I'm not even reading it because I was that excited about it. New characters, new playable characters.
Yeah.
New story content accessible through a separate menu or launcher, or not accessible, or not accessed through a separate menu. It's actually in the game. You don't have to find it.
It's built into the game.
Yeah, you don't have to find it. There's the EXP one. Let's see.
This is like on my shame list of stuff I just.
Oh yeah, some of the battle mechanics, like the cooldown bars, like goes a little bit quicker now. I saw that. That's that sort of thing. It's just kind of. And they're also going to make more defined quest tracking. Like that's something I'm excited about too, because sometimes it was really hard to find where you're going, and this was like this for Xenoblade Chronicles 1 as well, and they did really good when they did the Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition. They actually. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to Smashing Theory about this, where it's like, find this animal in this area, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, how are we going to find that? But it actually puts like dots on the map for you to go to, and hopefully that's going to do the same thing, where it's like, you don't know what the fuck this weird squirrel with a rock or whatever, like that's on the, like, you don't know what the actual thing is. It'll be like, all right, well here's where it is. Go there. I like that much better. So it seems like it's going to make everything like much more seamless, So I'm into it. Players now gain rewards for completing their survey of Mira based on the percentages tracked through the map, menus, money. All right, so yeah, maybe that'll make it a little bit better. Frontier Nav has been reworked to work on one screen, of course, because you don't have two screens now. That makes sense.
The Frontier Nav thing is the thing I'm most concerned with, because I think that's what really
hopefully they'll help. Yeah,
fucked me up.
Yeah, they got to help you out to figure out your finances a little bit better because I think I kind of didn't put enough mines there or whatever, and I don't know.
Well, that's where I was at, like where I was ready to go to the next level of the skills, and I did not have the money for it because I had not plotted my mines appropriately. So that's what held me back in the first game. So I'm really interested to. Yeah, this might be my next. It'll probably be my next Switch purchase because
it's kind of the swan song, I think, right? It's kind of the swan song of Switch. And I put, we both put like almost 200 hours into,
I know,
if not more, onto the Wii U one. But
this game.
Just the idea of it,
you had to put 60 hours. You had to get to level 60 rather, just to get your skill, which I don't think that's different.
And then that's the big news thing I want to end on, I guess, for this one is I don't know how I feel about it, but they're making it to where the song that you hear while you're flying the scale, it's optional. Now you can change it to not be the gold mine song. You don't have to always listen to "Look Over There's a Gold Mine." I think everybody should be forced to do that for the first 20 hours, and then maybe you can change it. I'm just saying it's an experience. It's an experience. You need to hear it. It's one of the best songs on any Nintendo system ever. It's great. It's and also they're going to have dual audio, which they didn't have before. So it's
like dubbed, right?
Yeah, so you can play it in Japanese or English. I think it was only in English in the original version. So there is a Japanese version now. So awesome. I'm really psyched about it. And you remember when it first came out and how you could like hire people that were playing the game who were like higher up to fight with you? Like, isn't that going to be really cool to like play it with like a whole bunch of people being on there and
actually like existing on the network?
yeah. No, I'm really excited to play it again. I mean, I'm 100% getting it at full price. I don't care. Xeno X. I love that game on Wii U, and yes, I really, really wanted to finish it. I
just want to see what Monolith's got up their sleeves.
I mean, Monolith is awesome, and yeah,
I don't have Xeno 3. I have everything else they've
Xeno
released
3
for the Switch.
I mean, I would say, in my opinion, I think Xeno 3 is the best one of all of them. Like, it's incredible. I mean, it was my game of the year when it came out. I put it in my top 5 like favorite Switch games of all time. I love that game so much. It's very, very good, and the stories are great. The characters are awesome. Which the story was not great on Xeno X, but at least they'll make it a little bit easier to play, and that's all I want to see. And
the world was just so vast. That was what was amazing about that game.
Yeah.
They even had like a day one patch or whatever where you could like preload stuff so it didn't take as long when you were going through the open world, and everything about it was just so cool. Like,
I did all the DLC. I did all the DLC stuff to
I'm really happy
to
see
quicker.
I'm excited to see Monolith's Xeno X on the Switch, where they actually have what they need hardware wise to like make this work, because they did, not to say they didn't before, but they're software wizards. They know what they're doing, so that's why. Like after Tears of the Kingdom,
almost
which
like
they definitely worked on,
almost like 10 years later, and well, they worked on Breath of the Wild because Nintendo was impressed with how well they did open worlds with Xenoblade Chronicles X.
They worked on Pikmin, they worked on Animal Crossing, like.
Oh yeah, they worked on a lot.
They're all over the fucking place.
Well, and Splatoon. Don't forget they're on Splatoon too, and like Mario Tennis on Wii U. Like they got all sorts of credits everywhere on different things. But yeah, no,
it's because they're software wizards.
Exactly. Yeah. No, they do. That's what I was saying. They should put them on Pokemon. Like they could do wonders for Scarlet or Violet or whatever else. They could make an incredibly amazing Pokemon game. But
we're going to see a lot of that on Switch too. Re-releases of the games that didn't run well on the Switch from the Pokemon company. But I don't know. I was happy with ScarJo. I had a good time with it. I didn't play the DLC, but
you had a pretty high on your game of the year list. It
was a great game.
We both did. Well, we had them flipped. Like I had Legends. I had Arceus higher, and you had a Scarvi. You had that one higher. But I love both of them. I had a great time with both of them. So they were good games. And Pokemon Presents is like next week, so I'm excited to see Pokemon Pizza. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully more stuff.
What's Pokemon Pizza?
The next Legends game, Pokemon Legends ZA.
Oh, ZA. Yeah.
You called it pizza last week. That's what's wrestling that. But
it is Pokemon Pizza.
But yeah, I think we're good. Unless you want to say anything else about Xeno X, but we're almost at 3 hours, and
no, I think we're good.
And I don't have a whole lot of time to edit tomorrow because we're going to see the anniversary at the Empty Bottle tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm going to buy a record of. I'm going to buy a album of their whatever. A record of their first album if they have it, and probably a T-shirt. Because
Designing a Nervous Breakdown.
Yeah, I love that album.
It's a good album.
I know I'm very excited to go see them tomorrow. Neva de Nova's there too, which is awesome because we haven't seen them since they opened for Cursive for that whatever the anniversary of Domestica. But they had a really good new album too. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see Anniversary because I do have an old Anniversary shirt, and I was gonna buy a new one if they had a cool one, and I really want to buy a record of that.
I don't know if the keyboardist is still married to the person from Get Up Kids, but
no, she isn't. I looked it up.
You did.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever did. They get married, or were they just dating?
Maybe they were just an item, but I thought that was one of their.
She had a solo album, which I couldn't find. I couldn't find anywhere, but yeah, she did go out on her own. It was called like Brie or something like that, or Dree.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I looked up some of the. I looked up just to see like what had been happening because I hadn't heard about them in years. But no, I'm excited to see them.
I'm still hung up on them being assholes when they played that show in Danville, even though I wasn't there. People are still hung up on that in my friend.
Well, maybe the audio was bad because I saw them play a show in St. Louis and the audio was awful. Like whoever was.
Oh no, they were like
whoever was mixing
the audience to go fuck themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, they didn't say anything bad at the audience. It's just the venue was garbage.
This was in Westville, Illinois, so maybe the venue was the wrong place.
The venue was garbage, and we couldn't hear them because the mix was so bad. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, this has been episode 459. Thanks everybody for listening. And, you can check us out on patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
We're pushing for that $5,000. We're only 31 away.
Throw us some dough and hear some extra episodes and all that. There's a lot of good stuff on there. There's plenty of expansion packs, many hours and hours and hours of extra stuff. And you can hear those wonderful WRT radio mixes and videos of us early and all that fun shit. You can find it on there. And also youtube.com/NintenDomain podcast. Listen to the Galloping Ghost ASMR recordings that I did on
room tone.
Yeah. Room tone, presence, ambience, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. Check that out there. And you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at Trey Johnson, or just at NintenDomain, or just Google NintenDomain and you can find it.
I'm at JerJerDomain at Blue Sky.
Yeah. It's a good place to find things nowadays. So check that out. But we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Mikowski.
John Knitter.
And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.
All right, I'll see everybody next week.
Later.
See ya! Wait, look over there. That's a gold mine.
Over the world we see all the high walls. You cannot change, but we've got to try first. Miles and miles fly across our sky.